thinking is good.
At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by National Car Rental. Go national, go like a pro. By People's United Bank N.A. See what know-how can do for you. By Land Rover Above and Beyond. By New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. And by the State Farm agent of the game, Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat at patcawley.org. Mets got a victory last night without the services of Lucas Duda. He'll be out of the lineup again tonight. Michael Conforto will sit against the lefty too, but the captain is back in the lineup, and that's good news for the Mets. David Wright will play tonight, and Curtis Granderson will again try and get the Mets off to a fast start. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Nationals. Mets won 2-0 last night behind Noah Syndergaard. And one of the things that was noticeable last night was after Bryce Harper had walked 28 times in his previous 18 games, Syndergaard and Jerry's Familia both went right after Harper all night long. And with a different kind of pitcher on the mound tonight in Bartolo Colon, you wonder whether that'll continue.
You know what's interesting, Gary, is that coming into the game last night, not only the walks, but the Mets have always gone after Harper. But he's a different hitter than he was in his first 2-3 seasons. He's got a better eye now, so you have to pound him in, soft away. And that's what Syndergaard did so well in last night's game. The problem now with Colon is Colon doesn't have the natural ability that Syndergaard has. So he's going to have to be a lot more cuter. And although he doesn't usually walk people, he might pitch around Harper tonight.
Meanwhile, one of the things that happened last night is that Kevin Plawecki threw out a base runner with Noah Syndergaard on the mound. That was notable, but also Plawecki's bat with Travis d'Arnaud out for the long term. The last 10 games, all of a sudden, Plawecki has begun to hit.
Well, I think it's because he's getting a chance to play every day and get into the rhythm of the season. He came up here highly touted as a hitter, not so much for his defensive skills. And Terry Collins said, hey, I want to see the bat. Well, he got a chance to play every day. It took him a while to get the engine running, but you can see his numbers right there. He's turned it on, and the fact that he's been, I think, doing well behind the plate, and he threw out the runner last night. I think that really relaxed Syndergaard.
Well, the Mets will try and make it 2 straight over the Nats, try and take over first place in the National League East tonight. It's the Mets and Nationals from the big city. All the action coming your way on SNY. 20th for Free Shirt Friday when the Mets face off against the Brewers at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a T-shirt featuring the Mets pitching staff etched into Mount Rushmore, courtesy of Goya. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. On base percentage leaders in the National League. Bryce Harper hasn't been hitting much lately, but he's been walking plenty, and that has him on top of the league, right in front of the surprising Phillies and Odubel Herrera. Bartolo Colon will take them out tonight for the Mets after a rough outing his last time out in L.A.
He had, just like he did against the Angels a couple seasons ago, lots of home runs, ball up in the strike zone. He's going to have to be down tonight to get through this Nationals offense.
And Gio Gonzalez, whom the Mets have seen plenty of, all of a sudden he's not walking as many people.
He's not walking as many people. He's pitching deeper into the game, and he loves pitching here at Citi Field. 6-1 and 11 starts.
Looks like he's auditioning to be a Mets starter with that hair. Mets try and make it 2 straight over the Nats on a nice night in New York. Come on back. First pitch coming right up. The always entertaining and supremely serene Bartolo Colon will take the mound for his 8th start of the year. Here's the Nationals starting lineup that'll face him, brought to you by Hyundai. Only one change for Dusty Baker tonight. That's his catcher, Jose Lobaton, takes the spot of Wilson Ramos. Otherwise, the same unit that got shut out last night. Nats were shut out for the 3rd time this season by the combination of Syndergaard, Reed, and Familia.
Well, it's hard to believe it's gone so quickly, but you'll see the Land Rover numbers for Colon inflated from his last start. But 32 and 28 in 69 starts for the Mets. This is his 70th.
Ben Revere will lead things off for the Nationals. Nats were limited to 5 hits in their shutout loss last night. Revere had one of those, and he's got great career numbers against Colon. 8 for 21, a .381 batting average against Bart, but This season is still in its infancy for Revere, who missed a lot of time with an oblique injury and is just working his way back. Colon ready for his first pitch of the night, and it's in for a strike, and we're underway. Colon gave up 5 runs in 5 innings against the Dodgers his last time out. Got ambushed in the first inning as the Dodgers put up a 4 spot. And as has often been the case when Bart has not been good early in games, it was a matter of him getting a lot of pitches up in the strike zone.
Yeah, he didn't have any of the secondary pitches, even though he doesn't throw them a lot. But they were right on his fastball, and it didn't have a lot of movement either.
Gave up a 3-run homer to Yasmani Grandal in that first inning, and seeing as he was matched up against Clayton Kershaw that night, that was pretty much curtains.
Well, the one good thing out of that outing was he did settle down and give the Mets 5 innings and didn't have to really tax the bullpen.
Ahead on Revere 1-2, and he tries to hold the swing and stopped it in time. By the way, speaking of Kershaw, 10 more strikeouts last night, or 11.
Yeah,
10, it's
6
straight now. And over those 6 starts, 68 strikeouts and 2 walks.
He had an outstanding curveball against the Metsies.
Revere again holds the swing, and again he stops it in time. Third base umpire Jim Joyce, the crew chief, makes the call. So a full count against Colon, who walks virtually nobody. 4 walks in 43 1/3 innings this year. Not quite the strikeout to walk ratio of Kershaw, but not bad. 9-1, 36 strikeouts, 4 walks. Revere takes strike 3 called, caught the inside corner, and so Colon starts the night with a strikeout.
Everything away, Ronnie, and then he comes in with that fastball in.
Well, the one thing about Colon, he's a big guy, so he doesn't push off. He doesn't use a lot of his lower half, but he's so strong, and that release point is more like 3/4. That's why that 2-seamer moves so much.
It's a good pitch right here. Watch it freeze Revere. Look at his fanny. Oh. And it comes back over the inside corner.
So 1 out now. Jason Worth, 1 for 4 last night.
Worth looks a little lost at the plate, a little slow. He's getting up there in years. What are you, 36 now, Ron?
Yeah.
Well, he hit 221 last year. He's hitting 210 this year. And in the 6th year of that 7-year contract he signed after he left the Phillies, it could be that Worth is simply on the downswing at this point. 2-1.
Gary, you're working with former players. We like to say we're in the fall of our career. it makes us feel a little better.
If I said
fall,
if I said late autumn, would that bother you too much?
Autumn sounds better.
Okay, autumn better.
Stumble and fall.
Fall. Okay, you're right.
And Colon falls behind 3-1, so 3 ball counts on his first 2 batters. That's very un-Colon-esque. Bryce Harper standing on deck. And Worth takes a strike, 3-2.
You know, the one thing looking at this Nationals team right now, it's a good time to pitch against this lineup. You know, they got a lot of guys that have been struggling. You got really 2 hitters that have been holding this team together.
And there's ball 4, so a rare walk from Colon. And the Nats get a man on for Harper.
Now take a look at the Mets defense. Brought to you by Lexus. As you see Lagares getting the start in center field with the left-hander out there. Conforto on the pine. David Wright back in the lineup with the lefty. David always kills the lefties. Campbell at first base again. Plawecki behind the plate.
Lucas Duda might be available to pinch hit tonight. Should be in the lineup tomorrow, but Campbell starting again at first because of the left-hander. So here's Harper, who was 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts last night, and Syndergaard really dominated him by throwing him inside in that first at bat to establish in there. And Colon comes inside with the first one as well.
Really a overpowering and dominant performance from Syndergaard last night, and I felt he was due. And he's pitched well, but he was due for a game like that where he was brilliant.
And it could not have come at a better time for the Mets, who had lost 4 straight and whose offense has been struggling. And Harper takes just off the plate, borderline call, 2-0.
Well, he's got to get that pitch. If he's going to be successful against Harper, he's got to get that pitch that is running off the outside corner.
I also think that Bartolo realizes this is a little different lineup here. He's got to be on his game early. Doesn't want to have that first inning he had in Los Angeles.
Well, especially with these two guys, Harper and Murphy. The rest of the Nats lineup has been struggling, but these two guys have been carrying it. And an off-speed pitch misses, and it's 3-0. So trying something a little different. A 2-0 changeup from Colon.
That's a pitch you don't see from Colon. Changeup right from the same arm slot, but the ball drifts off the outside corner.
Harper had walked in 10 straight games before last night. 28 walks in the last 18 games, which is great, but he's only 9 for 53 in that stretch. So when he's been swinging the bat, he hasn't been very successful lately. Murphy on deck. And that's too high. Alone. It's like a solar eclipse. Colon issuing back-to-back walks.
Well, the arm slot is the same, but we've seen this from Bartolo. For whatever reason, he's not able to get on top of the ball, and everything is drifting up in the strike zone. He never wants to be anywhere knees or lower, never around the belt or higher.
It's the first time this year Colon has walked 2 batters in a game, and he's walked them back-to-back in the first inning.
I don't know if I can remember him walking back-to-back hitter since he's been here.
So a chance for Murphy with 2 men on. Murphy was 1 for 3 in his return to Citi Field last night, leading the majors with a .399 average. And he swings at the first pitch fastball and fouls it back.
Again, another one up in the strike zone, Keith. Just cannot live up there. And I was saying it in his start in Los Angeles. Sometimes the older pitcher takes him a while to get his feel, and it seems like that's what's happening with Colon right now.
Well, Max Scherzer pitched well last night, but not as well as Syndergaard. Murphy cracks one toward left center field, cutting over his Cespedes to make the grab. And Murphy is retired for the second out. Well struck by Murph, but Cespedes playing left field tonight makes a nice play.
Well, watch the base runners here. They do everything right here. 1 out, you're a little halfway, a little more on the backside. You see plenty of time to get back. Longer throw from the left fielder. All well done. It's baseball 101. These guys are pros. This is the major leagues. Last time I checked.
So that's a huge out for Colon. Now he can take on Ryan Zimmerman with 2 out and 2 on. Zimmerman 1 for 3 last night. Had the Nats' only extra base hit. A double his first time up against Syndergaard. Worth at second, Harper at first, and Zimmerman takes high.
And it's been a struggle for Zimmerman, and he's just started going in the tank when they started intentionally walking Harper. It forced Dusty Baker to move Murph up in the lineup, the cleanup.
Zimmerman hitting just 182 with runners in scoring position so far this year. There's a strike, 1-1. Popped up. Milwaukee stumbles toward the backstop screen, but it goes out of play. 1-2.
Milwaukee here just kind of stutter steps there, dragged his foot, recovered.
Back-to-back walks, but now Colon on the edge of getting through it. Ahead on Zimmerman 1-2. Takes a glance at Worth, but nobody covering. Worth wasn't taking any chances. One-two coming. A little high. Are consistently up in the zone, up out of the zone.
You know, the scary part is up and away from Zimmerman is his power zone to right field and right center. You got to be careful. This one a little above. That's where Plawecki's calling for it, though. We've seen that happen a lot lately. 4-seamer instead of the 2-seamer coming off those fingertips of Colon.
2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Zimmerman. And an easy ground ball for Walker. And that gets Cologne through the opening inning. Despite back-to-back walks, Bart puts up a 0. Mets come to bat against Gio Gonzalez with no score. Curtis Granderson hit the first pitch from a national starter out of the ballpark last night. He takes the first pitch for a strike from Gio Gonzalez tonight. Curtis's home run last night was his 38th career leadoff home run, his 14th as a Met. And he gets tied up inside, went around, and it's 0-2. This has been a favorite stopping off point for Gio Gonzalez. He has had some of his best games in the big leagues here at Citi Field. And he gets Granderson on the curveball in the dirt. Lobaton makes the toss, and Granderson is out. Strikeout for Gonzalez to start his night. And here's the Geico starting lineup that he'll face tonight. Juan Lagares moves up to the 2-hole. Eric Campbell gets another start at first base. David Wright back in there and batting third after a night off last night that was unscheduled.
Well, Gio, one of the best left-handers in his time, 93 and 67 in his career, 55 and 35, 20 over as a national.
And in this ballpark, in 11 starts, 6-1 with a 1.54 ERA. So he has enjoyed the Citi Field mound. In fact, that's the best ERA for any pitcher in any ballpark other than Clayton Kershaw in San Francisco. That's taken the other way, but Harper's right there, and Lagares is retired for the second out.
Oh, big hang with him, Juan. Hit that ball good, right in the nose. And the Coors Light Nationals defense. Same outfield out there. Rivera got a base hit last night. He's been struggling. Of course, Rendon moved to third. Espinosa at short. What are we laughing at?
We're laughing at Danny Espinosa's beard.
Oh, the beard. I didn't notice it. I'm surprised I recognized him. I read the print. That was it was.
Gotta get an updated photo. Here's David Wright back in the lineup after some back woes last night.
I thought you guys were laughing at me.
No, no, never yet.
I will not tolerate that.
One thing that Gonzalez steps across that line, across his body. That's where the deception comes.
It's very interesting listening to David talk last night about what forced him out of the lineup. He said, most days my back is mediocre. He said yesterday it went toward the bad. And I guess that's about as honest as description as he could give. And it's one of those things that he's been told this since the day he was diagnosed with spinal stenosis last year, that this is going to happen from time to time. He's going to wake up and he's just not going to be able to go. He wanted to stay in the lineup last night because Duda had already been scratched, but Terry Collins told him no way. And as David put it after the game, maybe Terry saved me a trip to the DL. 2-2 from Gio, and the curveball struck him out. So a strong start for Gio Gonzalez. 1-2-3 inning with a couple of strikeouts. After one, no score. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Phillies keep rolling. Jeremy Hellickson, 6 strong innings today. Tyler Goodell, 3 hits, including his first major league home run. And the Phillies beat the Marlins 4-2. The Phillies are now percentage points behind the Nationals for first place in the NL East.
Guys,
Hello,
look,
Pooch.
not a little one.
So bring your human to the game day, right?
You see where Gomez has got?
Nice of the dog to bring him along.
Gomez got 16 saves for Philly. Jeez.
Jean-Marc Gomez.
They play one-run games every day. Anthony Rendon leads off in the second inning and takes off the plate from Colon, who required 23 pitches to get through the first. Rendon 1 for 3 last night. Just has not been himself yet this year. Rendon had missed significant time last year because of a knee injury. Hitting just .229 this season. And he takes one the other way for a base hit.
Nice hitting.
That's the Rendon we're used to seeing.
When I looked at this kid, I always think he has like a slump-proof swing.
Now time for a look at the Quicken Loans rocket arms. And that takes you to the Mets' average fastball velocity this year. And if you're the other guys, you want to hide your eyes when Noah's pitching.
It's appropriate that they got Bartolo in the slow lane.
I mean 94 and 93, that's nothing to sneeze at, but gotta be a little off-putting.
I always go back to this. Can Syndergaard throw 88 in the year 2036? That's when he'll be 42, just like Bart.
Here's Danny Espinosa with Rendon aboard, and he rockets one to deep right field, right down the line near the corner. It goes foul. So Espinosa got a little quick. And Colon gets a long strike to start him off.
Oh, there it is.
That was Espinosa in a previous incarnation.
That That's a lot of work. You know that. You got to brush that thing.
You know how much work it must have been to take it off.
Yeah, right.
Espinosa 0 for 3, struck out 3 times last night. I'm going to look to grow the beard back if he has to face Syndergaard again. Rendon with the Nats' first hit is aboard with nobody out.
Oh, they went to bat. That's why I never liked those gloves. That thing can slip out of your hands. You might get a pitch to rip and that bat slips.
Why would it be more likely to slip with gloves than with your bare hands?
For the pine tar, there's always movement in the gloves. No matter how tight those gloves are on your hand, there's always a little bit of movement, Gary. That's why I didn't like it. I want my hands on that, actually the base, my fingertips, not my fingertips, my joints. I wanted it firmly around the handle of that bat.
He thinks about throwing behind Rendon, but holds on. I suppose there's a metric for that, right? A percentage of thrown bats, depending on gloves or no gloves.
Keith is when he was hitting as a high art form. You wouldn't play the clarinet with gloves, would you, with the Philharmonic? That little give, you know.
That's right. You never saw Benny Goodman.
Seen some pretty good wide receivers wearing gloves.
Blitnikoff with the pine tar.
Well, we can't use the stickum anymore.
Freddie.
Off the fists, a pop-up that'll come back out of play. And Espinosa hangs in there. Jose Lobaton, the catcher, number 8 hitter, waiting on deck.
I recall Fred Blitnikoff wore the single bar
like a
face guard.
kicker.
Yeah, like a kicker, right. He was a typical Raider. Loved him.
Number 25.
That's right, 25.
I got a chance to meet him and tell him how much I was a fan.
Did we mention how much we love this camera angle?
And did we mention the defense on the infield? We better, because Bill's going to get mad in the truck. There it is, folks. There's the infield.
Foul tip held by Plawecki, and Espinosa is struck out. Second strikeout for Cologne, 1 out of the inning.
It's one of those, Keith, where he just swings right through it. He wants to throw that ball inside, but it's really middle.
He is a low ball hitter. You see the drop of the back shoulder. Left-handed, he's a low ball hitter. Right-handed, he's a high ball hitter.
It is so common and so undefinable why that is.
It used to be the old days. We've gotten away from it now. Everybody's a low ball hitter, even the right-hand hitters. But it used to always be right-handers were high ball hitters.
There's Jose Lobaton, the switch hitting catcher, and he takes ball 1. So you're saying now most hitters are low ball hitters?
Almost all of them. I was a pitcher today and I threw hard. I'd be throwing cheddar up in the letters all day long. Well, Ron, do you care to comment on that?
Runner goes right back to Cologne. Quick toss to second. A low throw, but he gets the out, and they turn the double play. Nicely handled by Cologne, even better by Cabrera, who dug that ball out of the dirt to save Cologne an error, and then completed the double play. And the Mets get the 1-6-3 to get Cologne through the second. No score at Citi Field. Home second inning, and Cespedes will lead off against Gio Gonzalez. Cespedes 0 for 2, was hit by a pitch last night. Cespedes, Walker, and Cabrera for the Mets in the second after Gonzalez set the Mets down 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts in the first. Cespedes second in the league with 12 home runs, third in the league with 32 RBIs. And goes after the curveball and misses 1-1.
So right now what we've seen from Gio, this is the first time we've seen him this year. He's got a sharp breaking ball that's down the dirt. And if you're paying attention, it'd be guys, hey, make him get that curveball up.
And he comes back with an inside fastball, 2-1. Walker on deck, Cabrera behind him. That's smacked to right field. Harper, though, has it lined up and pulls it in for the first out. It's 2 hard line drives that Harper's caught through the first 4 batters.
Well, one of the things you watch with Gio, he'll have a quick look down and then concentrate on the target. But like I said before, that line straight to the plate, he crosses across that line, throws across his body, and if you look at his feet, he's all the way on that third base side of the rubber like Scherzer was last night. So right-handers and left-handers both can pitch from that side if they feel comfortable.
There's Walker, who was 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts last night. Walker's had 25 at bats as a right-hand batter, hitting .320 from this side with 3 home runs. Much better than his career norms, and a couple of changeups from Gio to start him off 1-1. Gonzalez last year, not his best season. He went 11-8, 3.79, but his 1.42 WHIP was the highest of his career. So he had a lot of base runners last year, and the thought in spring training was that the addition of Mike Maddox as the Nationals pitching coach might serve Gio better than anybody else on that staff, and so far it's working.
What was the reasoning behind that? Why would they think that Maddox is a better fit?
Well, what I've read is that he and the old pitching coach, the ex-Oakland A, I can't think of his name now, Steve McCatty, you know, the personalities and stuff. And Maddox is a real thinking man's kind of pitching coach. And he's been around a long, long time, just like McCatty. I mean, sometimes you just need to hear it from someone different.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you.
Yeah, you know,
a different angle.
Yeah.
And we've seen Gio for long enough. We know that he can sometimes be betrayed by his emotions on the mound. Sometimes it's just a matter of maturity. That's pulled down the line by Walker. That'll go foul.
You know, if you end up with the right coach, you don't need anyone to change. I know that in the 80s with Mel Stottlemyre, he was the perfect coach for those pitchers in the day. He didn't need to change anyone. But Gio, his personality can be a little mercurial, so sometimes he needs a little someone different to tell him how to do what he's been doing all this time. Like I said, 93 and 67, 20 games over 500 as a National. Pretty impressive.
A guy who got dealt around from organization to organization early in his career before settling into Washington, where he's now in his 5th year. That first year with the Nats in 2012, he won 21 games and was an all-star, and he's settled in nicely as 3rd, 4th wheel in that rotation. And that just misses ball 4, and Walker is the first Met base runner. You could win a gas card. Just follow SNY on Twitter during the 5th inning of tonight's game for details on how to enter the SNY 5th inning sweepstakes presented by Tri-State Ford. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who had a rough night at the plate last night. 0 for 4, twice grounded into double plays. And he has never had much luck against Gio Gonzalez. Just 2 for 17 against Gio in his career. Gonzalez out of the stretch for the first time. And Cabrera takes a fastball strike.
Well, in 16 games this month, Cabrera has been like much of the team, kind of slowed down. 237. You know, you're going to hit your little tailspins. It's the ebbs and flows of the season. What I like, he doesn't take it out on his defense when he's not hitting.
He's already made one important defensive play in this game. He bounces that one too tall for Gio, but Espinosa's there to clean it up and gets the out as Walker moves to second.
You know, the hardest part for that play as a pitcher is as you start running uphill, a lot of times you start to lose your balance. So you follow through as you're going back for that ball. It's like running uphill and your head starts to go up and down and you lose track of where that ball is, although he didn't really have a chance at that. Nice play by Espinosa.
It's like being the center fielder in Houston.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, when you're running uphill too on that mound, now not so much for the pitcher, but like at Wrigley Field on pop-ups down the right field line, you're running full speed, all of a sudden you hit the angle up. It puts so much stress on your quads. Yeah. I was always worried that I was going to pull a quad doing that. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Here's Eric Campbell with a runner in scoring position. He takes a curveball strike.
What, did you not run after the pop-up?
No, I did. I just muy fuerte.
You're very strong. Campbell starting for the 7th time in the last 10 games. It's seen some lefties, and David Wright has had days off, so Campbell has found his way into the lineup frequently of late. 0 for 3 last night. Time asked for, and Murph wants to go to the mound for a conversation. Big on the sign.
He wants to know the signs, yes. And that's critical. If you don't know, if you forget, it's get out. You don't want to make a mistake.
You know what's interesting about Campbell playing all these games? If Flores was healthy, these would be his at-bats.
Wilmer's injury was not a severe one, and in other circumstances they might have lived with him on the active roster for a few days trying to get him better, but they had a need in the bullpen, so they decided to DL Wilmer, and he should be back in the minimum 15 days. But you're right, he would be playing a lot right now. But sometimes it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and Campbell's getting a chance. Much like Matt Reynolds last night, got called up to the big leagues, and it was funny. Terry Collins said, "You know, I need to apologize to Matt Reynolds. Gets called up to the big leagues. I put him in an unfamiliar position, facing Max Scherzer in his first major league."
And you think Matt Reynolds will take anything different? He wanted to be in there, especially what happened last year. You know, being on a roster and not getting any time.
Right at Espinosa. The overhand throw gets Campbell to end the inning. A walk and one left after 2 at Citi Field. Mets and Nats, no score. Road ahead presented by GMC. One more with the Nats tomorrow. 3 over the weekend with the Brewers. Then the Mets go to D.C. for 3 before coming right back home to take on the Dodgers and the White Sox. It's a heavy home schedule after that 11-game road trip. So Gian Gonzalez batting against Bartolo Colon. 2 years ago when Bartolo made his first start as a Met here at Citi Field against the Nats, Gio Gonzalez had a home run against him. Welcome to New York.
I mean, 3 home runs for Gio. He's kind of a swing as hard as you can in case you hit it guy.
Well, that's why with the 3 home runs, he's got the lifetime .093 batting average. 21 hits and 226 at bats. His batting average for his career is 1 point higher than Colon's. On the outside corner, and Gonzalez caught looking. 3 strikeouts first time through the batting order for Bart.
Well, this is how it used to be. Anything close and around the corner for a pitcher, go sit down.
That's right.
Let's speed up the game. That's the best way to speed it up. Anything close to a pitcher, go sit down.
How about to everybody?
Well, that would really be speedy. We wouldn't get the ads in. That's the most important thing about the game.
Well, the thing about these 2 teams, when they play games here, the Mets and Nats, they have tended to be very low-scoring affairs. In fact, last year the Mets and Nats played 10 games in this ballpark. They split 5-5. Ben Revere. And in those 10 games, the Mets and Nats combined to score 38 runs.
Oh, wow.
So less than 4 runs per game combined for 10 games.
That'd be bad enough for one team.
The last time that had happened at a particular venue between 2 teams was 1917. That's how good the pitching has been for these 2 teams, and that's what the Met pitchers have done over those last 10 games.
Look at the walks. Wonderful. Cespedes in left field playing shallow and to the opposite field, close to the line for Revere, who goes the other way. Hasn't got a lot of pop. He's wearing the canary yellow tonight, I see. And he's always very relaxed out there in his position. Almost like he's flat-footed.
Walker to his left. And the quick throw to get Revere for the second out. So Bartolo, after those 2 first-inning walks, seems to have settled into a nicer groove. 2 out and nobody on. Now Jason Worth, who drew the first of those back-to-back walks.
Read an article today. They were really talking about to get better for the Nationals, they've got to get better up top. Now Revere, since he's come back, he's 4 for 47. Reappearance.
There's Cespedes here. We'll show you his setup. He's very relaxed out there. Almost like on his heels, huh, Ronnie?
Yeah. Like on the outside that left foot.
Now, I can tell you, I used to play a little outfield and got some big league time out there. It's going to be very boring. You can go a whole game without a ball being hit at you.
And yet you have to be ready when one is.
Exactly.
So how do you strike that balance? I mean, as an infielder, you're in a much more athletic position.
Right. I think it varies. I play with outfielders that sit straight up. George Hendrick did. And some that crouched more. I could just, whatever the individual. We have no complaints on this guy playing left field or center field. He gets to a lot of balls. So. And it's all about your first jump, you know, your read off the bat. And we'll take a look at how Lagares sets up. A little more set, but still relaxed. I mean, you got a lot of time to, as long as you're ready to make a quick move, left or right, inner back.
Well, they've each won a Gold Glove, so they both know what they're doing.
Oh, sure.
Lagares' stance a little wider with his feet.
2-2 to Worth. It's off the play with a slider, 3-2.
Walked him on a 3-2 fastball away. Let's see if he goes back there again.
And he missed with it. Wow. Walks for a second time. So Colon, who had not walked 2 batters in a game all year, has now walked 3. And he's got to face Harper with a man on.
I mean, you see the release point, 2-seamer coming off those fingertips. But the thing about it, Colon, when he's right, there's no way he walks Worth in front of Harper. He's going to challenge him with something away and let Worth hit it to the big part of the field, but doesn't have the field yet.
See the shaking of the head by Dan Wortham.
Usually the last thing he has to worry about is Cologne walking people.
Really.
So now Harper, who walked on 4 pitches his first time up.
Playing deep in the outfield on a Walker. Can't call it an overshift. It's interesting how Harper takes a lot of pitches. He flies that shoulder out. He is a guy that likes that ball outer half down inside corner because he flies that shoulder open. He can drop that barrel up and away where the Mets have handled him because he opens that shoulder. That's where he gets in trouble. He wants that ball running middle in down so he can do an El Lifto.
You're right, but Cologne doesn't throw hard enough. That ball away, he might not be able to throw by him. And he's got power to left field and left center.
By the way, going back to the first inning when Cologne walked Worth and Harper back to back. It's the first time in 9 years that Cologne has walked back to back hitters. July of 2007, he walked B.J. Upton and Carlos Pena back to back at Tampa Bay. And it took him another 9 years before he did it again.
Amazing.
So Harper's front foot is close to the plate, but his back foot, excuse me. But see, he's been jumping a little bit. And this is something that happened to me when I kind of struggled. You jump and you lift that front shoulder. And boy, you just got to try to keep that shoulder tucked and drive right at the pitcher. Remember I say he looked a little jumpy last night, Ron.
Keith, do you think that some of the jumpiness might come from the fact that he's been walked so much and has had so few pitches to hit that maybe he's a little over anxious?
No, I don't think he is. I think that he's come into his own. He's an MVP. He's fully confident in his abilities. It's just, I think once they started walking him, his average dropped. He tanked. I think he got a little impatient.
And now Cologne behind him 3-1. After going 9 years between back-to-back walks, he might do it again. Cologne, the best strike thrower in the National League.
The impressive person on that list is Aaron Nola. Huh? One young guy in that list.
You know, one that's interesting to me after this pitch is Scherzer, because he gives up long ball. Maybe he throws too many strikes, Ron. Huh? Maybe he needs to put one up under a chin once in a while.
Good point, Keith. But there's been a lot of good pitchers, great pitchers in the game who gave up a lot of home runs.
Dangerous spot for Cologne behind 3-1, and Harper fouls it back. A little bit off the fastball that time.
Watch his swing here and watch his front shoulder. It's a big stride. See how he flies that shoulder out? It is set up for that ball middle down and in. He pulls that shoulder up. See how it goes up? And he's been taught that way, and it's effective for him. He's an MVP.
Landing foot for Cologne straight on. That's why he's a strike thrower.
Worth is running. 3-2 to Harper is too high.
Wow.
And Cologne issues back-to-back walks. So after not walking back-to-back hitters for 9 years, he does it twice in the first 3 innings tonight to the same pair, Worth and Harper. And so Murphy again will come up with 2 on.
First time up, Murph was swinging on that first pitch, very aggressive. He's been behind Bartolo Colon for a couple of years. Saw the strikes thrower Colon.
And on the second pitch, he lined one to left center that Cespedes was able to run down. Two out and 2 on. And Murphy again attacks first pitch and fouls off the fastball.
Murph looks a little slow with the bat right now. You know, he's hitting over 400 on a tear the first 6.5 weeks of the season. You know, it can't go on forever. You got to hit a little speed bump here and there in the course of a season. And he just looks a little slow with his bat in his first 2 games of this series. Watch him rip one right now.
That's never surprising. Nicely placed fastball, and Bartolo gets ahead of him
again, that release point 3/4. I'm sure that Murphy stood behind him many a day and said, why do those guys keep taking that pitch inside? Well, it's because that late movement.
Oh, 2. And Murphy gets jammed and fouls it off.
Well, Colon gets most of his power now from his forearms. Just tremendous strength in those forearms. And at the very second, kind of with finger pressure in those wrists, gets enough on the ball to get it in on Murphy.
3 years since he's walked 4 batters in a game. He's done it inside of 3 innings tonight. Trying to find his way through, and Murphy gets ahead of that. Yanks it foul. Nationals have been struggling for the big hit their last 5 games, and plus tonight they're 3 for their last 33 with runners in scoring position. And Murphy just got a piece.
Little change up there. Good hitters fight off the good pitches.
Well, that circle grip change, we see it maybe a half dozen times a game. Either take a little more off. You know, we saw a pitcher used against Freddie Freeman when the Atlanta Braves were here. A little cutter inside. That'd be an effective pitch against Murph.
A pitch that Colon has been reluctant to throw because he felt it hurt his arm earlier in his career. Again, the 0-2. And it's lifted foul down the left side. And that'll go out of play.
Notice that Colon threw that 4-seamer and put a little extra on it at 92, trying to surprise Murph. But outside with 2 strikes, very hard to get Daniel Murphy to swing and miss. Very good at fouling these pitches off.
Colon threw 23 pitches in the first inning. This will be his 27th pitch in this inning. Very unusual for Colon. Worth at second, Harper at first, and 2 out. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Murphy. He slaps that one foul.
So he threw a 4-seamer out there, and then he threw a 2-seamer trying to run it outside. Like I said, we watched Murphy too many years here. It's really hard to get him to swing and miss there. He's going to either put it in play or foul it off. I mean, that ball's what, a foot outside? Now the setup is to come back inside. We'll see if Colon can do it.
They're making Colon work. That's why he's got the high pitch count. And Colon knows he can't make mistakes with this lineup.
5 straight 2-out foul balls for Murphy.
Lucky wanted to come in. Colon wants to stay away.
Murphy slaps one up in the bag. Wright can't make the stop. Worth around third. He'll come in with the game's first run. Harper goes to third, and the Nationals have a 1-0 lead. David Wright unable to knock it down and keep it on the infield, and that enables Worth to score the game's first run.
Ball came up just a little bit, the hop. And this is not a strike. Murph just slaps it down the line. We've seen him do it a million times, particularly with 2 strikes.
Well, you see David right before that pitch was delivered, he moved 2 steps to his right, but still wasn't able to get to that.
So it's an RBI hit for Murphy. His 24th run batted in, and the Nats score first.
Nice base running by Harper. He busted around that second base to get to third. Play was in front of him.
So Colon got around a couple of walks in the first inning, not as fortunate as he does the same in the third, and now Zimmerman pulls one foul.
Well, the play's in front of him. He doesn't need his third base coach. He's already made his mind up. I got a chance here, and he can run a little bit, so easily goes to third. He knows how to play the game, Harper. He's a hustler.
This will be the 30th pitch of the inning coming up for Cologne. And that nicked Zimmerman, and that'll load up the bases.
Wow, this is so uncharacteristic.
It's the first batter Cologne has hit this season, and now the bases will be loaded for Rendon.
Just got a piece of his shirt jersey.
Now keep an eye at home, folks, how Bartolo chooses to attack Rendon. Remember, as Dan Wartham's got 30 seconds to get it out there. Rendon got a base hit to right field on a knee-high outside corner fastball. First time up. Let's see how Cologne goes after him.
Well, it's impossible to ignore the fact that Bartolo Colon today was greeted with tabloid headlines, and to see him pitching as uncharacteristically as he is today, you have to wonder whether it's had an effect on him psychologically.
I don't think you have to wonder. I think you know, it weighs heavy. You know, part of being a professional athlete is you're supposed to be able to put it in the back burner. What that doesn't always happen.
It's just too bad the story couldn't have been put in the back burner for at least one night, one day.
There's Rendon, and he takes up an in for ball one.
You know, you need all your faculties to get big league hitters out as a pitcher, and if you're missing on any of those cylinders, it's noticeable, and certainly noticeable in the walks and the hit by pitch and the lack of control from Cologne tonight.
And bounce throw to second base, all things that you just never see from him. Rendon breaks his bat and bloops one for Walker, and that retires the side. And so Cologne is able to limit the damage to just one run after issuing back-to-back walks. 1-0 Nats in the third. Mets down 1-0 as Kevin Plawecki leads off the home third. And he takes a strike from Gio Gonzalez, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, Gary, we can debate the merits of advanced metrics all we want. Hard hit ball rate, line drive percentage, exit velocity, things of that nature. But one area where they can be a real help is to players, actually, and their psyche. Kevin Plawecki is a perfect example. Got off to a really rough start this season, and recently has turned it up. 9 of his last 10 has a hit, 5 extra base hits in the last 10 games. And you look at what Kevin Plawecki was able to do. Even though he wasn't hitting well, he was getting presented with these metrics that were telling him that he was playing pretty well and to stick with things. And you put it in the context of what he was going through, a young player getting his first real or second real shot, but this is really legitimate right now. And he had his manager calling him out, saying he needs to start hitting. Hitters could go the opposite way, try to change things up if they didn't have that to back up what they were feeling up there. Plawecki, though, had the numbers, stuck with what his approach was, and even though he struck out right there, he seems to be turning it around here today.
I read that article in the Wall Street Journal of all the statistics of what Plawecki was struggling about his ground ball line drive ratios. To me, Steve, I just kind of read that and I said, well, okay, what's he hitting? He's got to start hitting. I was in Terry's camp there, and it was just a matter of him getting some playing time and getting into a groove, and he's starting to swing the bat better. But too much statistics in that article for me. The bottom line is, if you're going to have those numbers halfway through a season and you're still hitting 210, you're not going to be playing.
Bartolo Colon's first home at bat since his historic home run in San Diego. Bart was presented a certificate from the Guinness Book of World Records yesterday. And he hits one toward the middle of the diamond, but Espinosa's right there. Bart carrying the bat halfway down. And that's the second out.
Keith, back to these metrics, though, my question for you is, as a guy that didn't have those advanced metrics when he was playing, do you think there is merit to these guys thinking that their confidence can stay high based on what those advanced numbers are saying? Because we heard it from David Wright, actually, the other day, too. He's clearly not in a great place right now in terms of what he's able to do up there, but he also was speaking about getting shown these numbers, this line drive rate, and feeling like maybe he was able to potentially turn the corner soon because of it.
Well, Steve, it might be a generational thing. If I'm struggling at the plate, if I'm hitting the ball hard, I am going to find holes sooner or later. And I know when I'm hitting the ball hard, and I know that I'm going to find a hole, because it's going to happen. It's going to come it's going to come back to me. So if it works for the players and that works for them and they feel good about it, fine. Me, I know myself. I don't need the numbers.
1-2-3 inning for Gio Gonzalez after getting the lead. 1-0 Nats after 3. Audi A4 in your tri-state Audi dealers.
That's where I come in every day. That's off the Grand Central on your way to the Whitestone. I hang a right. Take the second right because that light's on more often than the first right for you folks to come to the ballpark. Take the second right.
Don't do the LIE like I did going westbound on exit 32. Jeez.
You got a little tied up today.
It was a truck jackknife. They shut down the whole west side, the westbound side.
Look at that beauty.
No flat tire today?
No flat tire. Right. And no 5-iron for you.
That's right.
That's an inside joke, folks.
Espinosa struck out his first time up. I remember when Keith brought us the receipt for the flat tire.
I did?
That was impressive.
It was like a note to the teacher.
Next time, just bring the apple.
There was a mess on that LIE. My goodness.
2-2 to Espinosa. And Colon, 4 walks already over the first 3 innings. First 2 didn't cost him. The next 2 did.
He's going to throw his 70th pitch here in the 4th.
And the Mets had an off day Monday and 7 innings out of Syndergaard last night. That's down to first, and Campbell makes the stop. Colon late getting over, and so Campbell takes it himself for the first out.
Nice play. Nice up hop too. Very sweet. Always love those up hops. Remember, Campbell's not a first baseman by trade.
See Colon, that little delay with Espinosa cutting down that line made Campbell have to make that play himself.
Very nicely alertly played by Campbell to make that judgment, to look up and see that Bartolo wasn't going to get there.
Here's Lobaton, who had a comebacker into a double play his first time up. I was going to say, with the Mets having an off day Monday and 7 innings from Syndergaard last night, it means they have a very rested bullpen for a change. Its bullpen has just been extraordinary. The best ERA of any bullpen in the major leagues right now. And they may need a lot of that bullpen tonight with Colon's pitch count rising. And keep in mind that, you know, you think of Bart as a workhorse, but he hasn't thrown 100 pitches in a game yet this year.
Yeah, he usually gets 6+ innings in under 100 easily.
Well, Cabrera has been playing so wonderfully all season at shortstop, so smooth, and they'll see how he sets up for a pitch. Shortstop is probably the deepest of all the infielders, has more time to react, and he's on his toes. He doesn't get his glove down, but he does get in that crouched position. All infielders have to get into a crouched position some more than others, but they can't be upright out there. The ball gets on you too quick. You've got to be ready to move.
Just like Reyes when he was here, the rubber spikes.
Very nice.
Just missed inside, 2-2. So if it's okay for the middle infielders to have their glove up,
I'd rather have it down a little bit.
The corner guys have got to have it down.
Corner guys have got to have it down. I cannot tell you, and we'll look at Walker here, who's a very fine fielder. See how they all come in and get set when the pitcher. I used to always come in and take a step and a half in and be on my toes when that ball left the pitcher's hand. So I was on my toes, ready to go in either direction when the ball was probably around halfway home.
Lobaton cracks one to right, but Granderson's right there. And that's the second out.
Keith, the middle infielders, are they, when they're standing there looking in, they're getting the sign from the catcher?
Yes, they are. They have the advantage of that.
So if you're a second baseman and the changeup is called, you're favoring the pull side.
Right, and I was always told, Wally would always, or Tough would always, when the pitch left the pitcher's hand, they would say, Keith, and I would be able to shift over too. And the hitter's eye is focused on the ball by then. You're not giving away the pitch. But the one advantage, not to beat a dead horse here, I'll get out of this real quick, is the middle infielders not only know the pitch and where they want it, but they also know once it leaves the hand, they have the view almost of the center field camera. So they know if the ball's going to be inside or outside. The corner out in position players do not have that advantage.
Okay, now Colon is usually where the catcher calls the pitch. What if you're with a wild pitcher who's not hitting his spots?
Then you just you just react. You got to just go down, get in your position, get ready to go.
0-2 to Gonzalez, and he lines one to left. On comes Cespedes. He'll have to play it on a hop. Blocks it and keeps it in front of him. And Gonzalez has his 3rd hit of the year.
He makes things look easy, doesn't he? You might think, okay, this is kind of casual, but look at how he got his body in front. It's like playing a little soccer. You can use your hands. That was nice play. You know, he was not. It looked nonchalant, but he got his body in front.
I wonder, Keith, was he trying to goad Gio into
possibly
making a base running error? Set himself up for a throw.
I think Cespedes is a player. He can play this game.
Gio, though, didn't know it was a hit. He was running to first base. He was not turning. He was running as though it was a ground ball.
Another guy gives a pitcher a bad name. You know, the whole thing about Cespedes is that I don't think I've ever seen. Have you ever seen an outfielder do that?
No. I would like to see him use his glove.
Well, we'll get to see it now unless he decides to barehand it. Kevin Mitchell did. But not Cespedes. Still 1-0.
That was a great interview with Kevin in San Diego.
Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. City probables for the final game of the series tomorrow. Matt Harvey and Steven Strasburg, often linked in the public imagination.
Who's better?
So far this year, it's been Strasburg.
Yes, it has been. What did he sign for? 7 at 175, something like that?
I'll take it.
He's got an opt-out along the way.
Yes.
That's the new trend.
Juan
Lagares takes a curveball outside.
I can think of a lot of ways to have fun with that kind of glue.
I haven't heard glue in a long time. That's a baseball term.
That kind of money does stick to you.
I was going to ask you to enumerate the ways that you were thinking of. I'm not sure it's airworthy, but maybe you can clean it up for him. Sweeping out to Lagares, who lined to right his first time, and Gonzalez finds the outside corner with a fastball, much to Juan's dismay. 2-1. David Wright on deck, then you went to Cespedes.
Even though Gonzalez is only throwing 91, 92, it looks like his fastball's got a little more zip. Oh, lefty.
Or a young Keith Hernandez.
That's an R161 he's swinging.
Yeah, at least. I was going to say a U2.
It's got that nice big barrel.
It's a Rusty's bat.
Well, you talk about the 91 from Gio. That's actually up from what he's been doing this year. His average fastball velocity this season has been 89.7, which is well down from last year, despite the fact that he's gotten off to a really good start. He's been without his best fastball. Better tonight. Just inside, full count to Lagares.
That might be 91, but it's by Lagares before he could make a decision.
This is a big series, even though it's the first series of the season between these two teams, and they are pumped up both sides. And all these players are showing me they're on point. They're totally focused.
And Lagares goes down on the fastball away. Fourth strikeout for Gio.
Oh boy.
Time for the Verizon trivia question. What brand of meat is that? No. Who are the only two players to play for the Giants, the New York Giants, and the New York Mets? One is easy.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's David Wright, who struck out his first time up. Just turned 85 a few weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
Was he a coach also for the Mets?
Yes, he was.
Okay, I think I know you.
0-2 to right, and it's bounced down to third. Rendon handles the hop. Now there are 2 out. So Gonzalez has retired 7 in a row. Two out and nobody on. Now you enter Cespedes. Cespedes lined out to right field his first time up. Yoenis has been the Mets' best hitter against lefties this year. .381 started the night with 2 of his 12 home runs against the lefties.
It's really the one guy in this lineup, because it's a lefty against a righty, that Gio has to be really careful. This is the one guy that can leave the yard and hurt him. It's interesting how Cespedes, a lot of times, as the game is in action, he's in his second or third at bat, he'll take a first pitch. Has no intention of swinging. Does it a lot.
Like Bartolo.
By the way, that was a wonderful call you made, Gary, on the home run by Cologne.
Well, the best part was Ronnie laughed.
The giggle?
He did giggle. I never thought I'd see it.
It's not a laugh, it's a giggle.
Cespedes has to move 2-1.
Well, and listening to all the calls, they were all so unique, right? Howie's call, and of course on Spanish radio, Max's call was amazing too.
Backdoor curve misses, and it's 3-1. One of the rare times that Gonzalez has been behind tonight.
This is where pitchers make a mistake. They think that they can just flip a breaking ball in when they're 3-1 on Cespedes. Great breaking ball hitter.
He hits this one to deep left field. Forget it. That is way out of here. Cespedes ties the game with his 13th home run of the year. He is absolutely remarkable.
He's good.
He's been pretty good against these Nats since he joined the Mets, isn't he?
He's better than good.
Yes, he is.
This is a Major League Baseball player.
Well, he didn't get a curveball, but he got a changeup, and he did damage with that.
I don't know where these scouting reports come from. They all try to flip in a curveball or a changeup, something off speed.
Behind the count, Ronnie.
Yep.
And it's out. No, too much plate and up.
I don't even think he got all that. I think he got
Towards
a
the
little
end.
off the end.
Yeah, he's just strong.
He's got it to the second deck. So the Mets get back even. Now Walker pops one up into shallow center. Revere coming on. And that retires the side, but the Mets get even with one big swing of the bat of Yoenis Cespedes. Wearing the rally parakeet sleeve tonight. His 13th home run of the year. Mets first hit of the night, and it gets them even against Gio and the Nats. 1-1 as we go to the 5th. State Ford dealers who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. 5th inning recap brought to you by Ford. Daniel Murphy after a couple of walks, an RBI single in the 3rd. Bartolo Colon limited the damage there, and Cespedes got him even. 1-1 as we start the 5th. Jason Worth has been up twice and walked both times. 2 of the 4 walks given up by Colon is most in a game in 3 years. Slider off the plate, a ball and a strike. Worth, Harper, and Murphy against Colon. 3rd time through the batting order. Colon with a much higher pitch count than he's accustomed to have at this point in the game. Rally parakeet always in force.
Did that appear for the first time in that National Series last year in late July, August?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I just remember there was an actual parakeet on the backstop screen while Cespedes was wearing that color. And the craze took off. There's a strike. 2-2. That home run by Cespedes was the Mets' 3rd home run of this series. They only have 5 hits. But that's the nature of the Mets offense right now. Homer or bust. And Worth fouls off the fastball. Mets have now hit 56 home runs this year, plus 32, because they've given up the fewest home runs of any pitching staff in the National League. It's an amazingly effective weapon.
Yeah.
Off the plus and the minus.
You know, to truly get on a roll, you've got to be able to get up and down the lineup some base hits. Because the home run will dry up occasionally, especially against Strasburg's and guys like that. Although it didn't last night against Scherzer.
Saw that even in Colorado, a terrific hitter's ballpark, the home runs were not flowing, and the Mets got swept. Fewest runs they've ever scored in a series in Colorado. 2-2. Worth lines one into center field for a leadoff hit. So there's the fourth hit against Cologne. Worth is on base for the third time tonight, and Bryce Harper is coming up. Sunday, the crew will dive into the biggest player storylines entering this week's OTAs. Plus, Mike Westhoff will take a closer look at the state of the Jets special teams in an all-new episode of Jets Nation Sunday at 7 only on SNY. What's the baseball equivalent of OTAs? Don't have any, right?
Instructional league.
Yeah, maybe.
They'll find one.
Here's Harper, who's walked twice. 43 walks this year for Harper. He's walked in over a quarter of his plate appearances this year. The only players in history who've ever walked in at least 25% of their plate appearances for a full season: Ted Williams, Barry Bonds.
Figured that.
Counsel Robles up in the Mets bullpen with Cologne up to 90 pitches with nobody out in the fifth. Well, last year, the youngest unanimous MVP in Major League history. He's still only 23 years old.
Look at that on base percentage. Ooh. Wow.
Well, his walk rate is up significantly from last year. There's a strike, 2-1. Last year he walked in about like once every 5 plate appearances. This year it's more like every 3.5.
Well, didn't Joe Madden get that started in Chicago? Didn't even pitch to him that series.
The Mets, though, have taken a very different approach against Harper. They've been much more aggressive than most teams. However, Cologne has walked him twice tonight.
Nothing but junk for Mr. Harper. 2 changeups. Let him off with a changeup. Came with the fastball in that he missed, 2-0. 2-0. Get me over backdoor slider, and now another changeup, 3-1. We hope we can roll one over here, huh, Ronnie?
Yep.
It's been a different kind of night for Cologne.
His pitching tonight unrecognizable.
It's got a big gap between short and third base. Cologne's 3-1 right now. He can just hit that ball in the left center field gap. Big hole there on the shortstop side.
And Harper walks for the third time. That's 5 walks now for Cologne, and let's see how much more rope he gets. You got Murphy coming up, Zimmerman behind him, and here comes Dan Worthen, so he's going to get at least Murphy.
We'll take a look at the pitch sequence with Murph's last at bat. Fastball up and away, 0-1. Fastball 0-2 inside corner. Another fastball in. Another fastball in. Changeup. He fouls back. Another fastball over the plate. Fastball away. And there's your base hit. Fastball knee high outside corner. That ball's outside. Give Murph credit for putting the bat on that one.
Count on one hand the times I've seen Dan Worthen have to go out 2 times in a ball game to speak to Cologne.
Oh my God. That's like going to Starbucks in the morning and getting the $1,000 coffee, the 1,000-calorie coffee.
I guess it's tasty. You got the thumbs up. Well, here's Murphy. In a 1-1 game, he's got 2 aboard and nobody out. Murphy's hit the ball hard twice, lined out, and singled in a run. And he pulls that one down to first. A fair ball, and Campbell takes it to the bag. Another terrific defensive play by Campbell to retire Murphy for the first out as the runners move up.
First pitch right here. Nice play. That's got Dubs written all over it with 2 ribeye steaks. Just a very nice play.
Well, they had Campbell playing on the. No, they didn't. He was off the line. Good reaction time.
Very nice play. Saved 2 runs. But Colon still in some hot water.
Well, now you got 2 in scoring position. Mets are going to play the infield back with Zimmerman at the plate. Rendon on deck.
Corners in. It looks like you've got Campbell a little bit of no man's land right there.
That one misses badly as Colon took a bad step. Zimmerman has grounded out and been nicked by a pitch. 0 for 1.
You know, you would never say this, but if I was Colon, I'd go after Zimmerman because he's struggling, and then pitch around a little bit at Rendon, and you got Espinosa.
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised Colon's still in the game. I mean, you're in a spot here now with second and third. You need to strike out. You got Robles ready in the bullpen. 97 pitches in the 5th inning.
this is one of those decisions for on the side of a veteran pitcher. You think he's going to be able to pitch his way out of it because you've seen him do it before. That's where that decision comes from.
First time in 9 years he's walked this many batters in a game. Oh, make it 11 years. Excuse me, 2005.
Wow. Boy, Zimmerman's just got a real long swing working right now. I've not seen him look this off at the plate in a long while.
Again, the Mets and Plawecki have been calling that high pitch fastball with 2 strikes. I'd be careful with that with Zimmerman. I just think his strength is up there. Maybe not now while he's struggling. But boy, his strength in the past against the Mets has been high fastballs.
Long could use a strikeout. He's fanned 3 tonight. And this is inside. 2-2.
If you're going to go up, Ron, you just go up out of the strike zone.
Well, he almost stood up here, but Colon was throwing a 2-seamer, so that ball is going to run in and not run true and up.
And this will be the first time this year Colon throws 100 pitches in a game. Number 100 upcoming. Worth at third, Harper at second. 2-2 to Zimmerman. Off the plate, full count.
He can't make the out pitch, Ron. He gets ahead and he just can't make that put away pitch.
That was a little cutter slider away. Now maybe he'll start that fastball right where that slider ended up and try to break it back over the outside corner of the plate and get Zimmerman to take that final.
Pretty much they've shaded him the right field and the outfield, straight up on the infield.
Colon has already walked 5. And that's pulled foul. Just enough stretch.
I almost feel as Colon and Plawecki talk here, at times on the mound you feel almost weaponless. Like what do you throw now? You've thrown him everything you can throw him. And you don't have your pinpoint control. Sometimes you count on the hitter to get himself out. Pop one up. Oh, gee.
Jeez, what is this?
I think they're selling us cheese.
It's like a Swedish smorgasbord.
Little thick comfort. 3-2 to Zimmerman. And he bounces one off his leg, a foul ball. Worth at third, he's singled. Harper at second, he walked. And Warthen and Terry Collins trying to nurse Colon through this 5th inning. It has been a struggle right from the beginning. Colon off his game, but to date has allowed just the 1 run. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Zimmerman. And he struck him out.
Boy. Just another frustrating at bat for Zimmerman. Another more men left on base. Changeup. Big leg kick.
And Plawecki picking that out of the dirt, not going down to block it with a runner at third.
I also thought it was the third out.
There's 3 outs in this league.
You know,
Cologne says, "Hey, Kevin, 2."
Yes, he will get it in the dugout.
So here's Rendon, 2nd and 3rd and 2 out. And he takes a strike at the knees. Rendon 1 for 2, single to right back in the 2nd. A soft line drive with the bases loaded to end the 3rd. So he stranded 3 his last at bat. Cologne trying to strand 2 more.
Borderline. That pitch could have gone either way.
See, Cologne tossed the ball. He wanted that pitch. You know, sometimes if you're a manager, you're deciding on trusting a guy who's been out there over 3,000 innings, his 475th start, faced over 12,000 batters, but it's almost like you're managing with your heart.
And he's going to be 43 in 6 days. 1-1 to Rendon. And that's on the inside corner. Rendon didn't think so. Now he's down to the count 1-2.
That ball's inside.
He didn't get the one before, but he might have got this one.
One-two. Hit toward the hole, and that'll sneak through for a base hit. Worth is in. Harper right behind him. Rendon behind in the count. Just got one through the left side of the infield to drive in a pair. And the Nationals lead it 3-1.
Up and in. That was an up and in fastball. And that's going to be it for Cologne. And the ball is, did it get in there? Got in, but he tightened up his bat, got in there and just brought, what do they call it, getting the barrel through. Keeping the hands inside. That's good 2-strike hitting right there. And did not hit it hard enough for Cespedes with the strong arm to have a chance to throw out Harper.
Troubling day in the life of Bartolo Colon has come to a close. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. So Robles will try and get the final out here in the top of the 5th.
Well, Terry Collins was addressing or talking about Robles. He said he's been invaluable in that bullpen because he's a guy that literally every day comes into him and says he's ready to pitch.
Well, they gave up the long ball that lost the game in Los Angeles, but I like Robles. He's going to give up the home run. He goes after hitters, power pitcher. If you're going to beat him, you got to beat him. He's not going to back down, and I like that kind of guy coming out of your pen.
Espinosa struck out and grounded out. Good play by Campbell his last time up. A changeup to start him off, fouled off.
Well, Ronnie, you mentioned it in the break there that you know, he had Espinosa in a base open in the on-deck circle.
You had said it before.
Rendon's a better hitter, even though it's righty-righty. I wonder if Bart would, when he goes home tonight, that's one he'll think about.
And yet he was right on the verge of sailing through turbulent waters. He got ahead 1-2 on Rendon, who's been struggling.
Just needed a little better pitch. That's all it was.
It's all we can sit up here six or seven, and half a dozen of the other. Is that what it is?
6-1.
Thank you. I've never been good at numbers. I wouldn't be a good sabermetrics guy like our director. He's not good at names. Bill Webb. He's terrible at names. I'm terrible at numbers.
It's a good thing he doesn't know your name. You would have turned your mic off years ago.
He's tried. Never fail safe. They will not be silenced.
It's always good to have a backup plan. Rendon at first, and Espinosa takes a big hack. 1-2.
I just found that such an interesting choice from Robles. The first pitch changeup coming out of the bullpen to a guy that has not seen your fastball yet. Threw that one right by him.
Now the 1-2. Rendon runs. The throw by Plawecki on a hop. Safe. Nice effort by Cabrera. Again, that tag down. But second base umpire Chad Fairchild said Rendon beat it.
Plawecki gets rid of the ball quick. It's a tough. He got in there. Almost got spiked. Oh, here we go.
They're going to challenge this call.
Are we going to go to commercial break?
That's not the plan.
Might as well.
If you'd like to buy an ad.
We could sneak one in, you know. We could make everybody happy.
Here's another angle. Maybe get a better look at it.
It's going to take a while.
I wouldn't have challenged this call.
Yeah, I don't really understand the challenge. It does not appear as if there's any compelling evidence that he's out.
2 outs.
Oh, I think he got in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Obviously, the Mets replay coordinator is looking at this and telling the bench that it was a good play to challenge, but boy, it sure doesn't look like at the angle we've seen. Land review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters.
Well, we're going to find out hopefully shortly. In the meantime,
I mean, we saw last night, even if you're out of challenges, sometimes you can get the umpires to meet.
Yeah,
they did last night.
You know,
so
I agree. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I think it should be, you got one and that's it, brother.
Well, the replay center in Chelsea is being manned by John Hirschbeck and Brian Gorman's crews this week.
Here we go. Safe. Oh!
Now they must have seen an angle that we did not see. There are 3 different networks covering the game tonight. So good call, as it turns out, from the Mets bench. Turns out you just never know.
It's thrown out for 2 for Plawecki this series.
I mean,
what a play by Cabrera.
Yes,
it was. But boy, you sure can't tell by this.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for the inning. Nats get 2 and take the lead 3-1. as Drupal Cabrera leads off for the Mets in the home fifth. And it's down 3-1. Cabrera grounded out to short his first time up. Did a terrific job on the tag on that last overturned call. I still scratching my head trying to figure out what the umpires saw that we didn't.
I don't know if I can officially, as my job, be over replay and not make a comment about it the rest of the year, but I'm going to try.
Out to center field, and Revere has it lined up. 1 out.
Well, this is usually the good pitchers when the middle of the game right here, and you give them a lead in the tight game. The good ones shut the door.
Well, especially when you're down at the bottom of the order, that's a prime time to do it.
Eric Campbell grounded out to short his first time up. Mets only have 1 hit against Gio Gonzalez. That was the home run by Cespedes that tied the game in the 4th. Nats immediately regained the lead with 2 in the top of the 5th. Tonight's starters presented by People's United Bank. Not a good night for Colon. First time in 11 years he had walked as many as 5 batters in a game, and it ended up costing him. He was right on the edge of getting through it, couldn't quite seal the deal, and now Gonzalez has himself a 2-run lead. Now to Campbell with Plawecki on deck. Gio has walked 1. He struck out 4. His walk rate is down significantly from last year. It was 2.6 walks per 9 innings this year. There's a strike 3-1. Last year 3.5 walks per 9. So almost a full walk per game less.
He's throwing much better.
Campbell off the end of the bat to right center. Over goes Harper in the gap. And that's the 2nd out.
This is how he threw Gary when the first year over here from the A's when he's won the 21 games. And he got a little bit of rain. Some kind of spring we're having, huh? It's still spring, correct?
Not yet an official game.
Oh, so cynical.
Holy.
Just letting you know. Plawecki struck out his first time up.
Hey, the Braves are winning tonight.
You know, last night they were down, what, 9-0 in the 2nd inning, and they came back and made it a game.
It was 12-9 at the end.
Yeah.
It was Brian Snitker's first game as interim manager. Little number to the right side. Murphy slides over to get it. And he gets Plawecki by a stride to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Gio Gonzalez after 5. 3-1 Nats. It's a fit.
dinner, cereal. Morning.
SNY before tonight's game. SNY had awarded $5,000 in play ball grants to the City of Bayonne Buddy Baseball program and the Lady Tigers softball team in the Bronx. Bayonne Buddy Baseball will improve the safety of their fields, and the Lady Tigers took a once-in-a-lifetime team trip to Chicago for an opportunity to play at the home of a professional women's softball team. Danny Espinosa leads off in the 6th against Hansel Robles. Espinosa was at the plate when Rendon was caught stealing to end the 5th, so he gets a fresh turn at bat. Greg Levin's up in the Mets bullpen. You got the switch hitting Lobaton on deck, and then the pitcher Gonzalez. Espinosa yanks one foul. So the Red Sox and Royals are playing a doubleheader today. Kansas City won the day portion, and the night portions in the 3rd inning. And Jackie Bradley has had a hit in both games.
So 24?
24 game hit.
Wow. That's the real deal. Anything over 20, right, Keith?
Oh yeah, that's serious.
What was your longest?
I think 23, 22.
Time had been called before that pitch.
That was one of those guys that would hit in like 50 or 55.
Steven Matz through his bullpen session today. Everything went well. He should pitch against Milwaukee Friday night.
Milwaukee comes in with that team ERA. Oh, threw it by him.
Espinosa down on strikes for the first out of the 6th.
You know, Keith, they came in with the team ERA, but last night they almost got a no-hitter from Chase Anderson.
7 no-hit innings before Ben Zobrist broke it up. And the guy who's supposed to be the ace of their rotation, Willie Peralta, is pitching Friday night. His ERA is 7.30.
Yeah.
I was looking at the pitching numbers yesterday. There, Cincinnati and Milwaukee got the 2 worst pitching staffs in the National League.
Well, something happened to that Cincinnati bullpen that I don't think I've ever heard of before. They had the bases loaded, and their relief pitcher for the Reds walked 4 consecutive guys.
That'll get you sent down.
Jose Lobaton is 0 for 2. Gio Gonzalez on deck. Final one on Bartolo Colon tonight, 4 2/3. He allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, a hit batsman.
And 107 pitches to get through that 4 2/3. Here's Pap, Jonathan Papelbon.
Lobaton's a lot like you can see him shaking his head. He's kind of flailing up there. He's talking to himself. That's not a good sign. No, that's not going to help.
Lobaton hit 199 last year. He's hitting 205 this year.
It's tough when you're a spot player. Tough job.
2-2 from Robles. And Lobaton lifts one foul.
Just keep the ball away from him as much as you can. Let's just like Espinosa. They both like the ball in.
In the day, this would be a hitter that you pitch away and play away. Lobaton.
Yep. And they're defending him in the outfield, the opposite field. There's Dusty. I'm going to go down and say hello to him. I meant to today, but I got caught in that traffic on the LIE.
Didn't you say there was traffic today?
Mooey. It was a jackknife truck.
Walker to his left, knocks it down, makes the play. Nice recovery by Walker. 2 men down.
He's probably going to be upset with himself because he didn't make the play cleanly, because he's that kind of fielder. Got the glove on it. A nice recovery.
think that the Nationals are looking at that play to see whether they should challenge it because of Campbell's foot.
Campbell's foot came off. The question is, did it come back in time?
Yeah.
And the Nationals
I think
he
stayed on.
So 2 out now, Gio Gonzalez.
I said that Bartolo Colon's pitching was unrecognizable. Occasionally the game is.
Gio had a base hit to left field his last time up. And Robles gets ahead of him 0-2.
Gio takes a cut. He's got a chance up there.
And Robles takes care of Gonzalez to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Hansel with a couple of strikeouts. To the bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Washington.
Before that at bat, I said, man, I've never hit a walk-off homer. And I said, it would have been nice hitting one right now.
Torres drives it. Deep left center field. Taylor back near the wall. It's out of here! Wilmer Flores night at Citi Field comes to a fitting close, and the Mets win it 2-1 in 12.
One of the major highlights of the 2015 season.
Sure was.
2 days after he was almost traded, a day after the Mets blew a horrible game against San Diego, and Wilmer had a moment that will be indelible for Met fans forever. Matt Reynolds pinch hitting as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 6th. Reynolds made his major league debut last night, went 0 for 3, and takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1.
I'll never forget, before he touched home plate, he reached for his jersey and picked at the Mets logo, almost like to say, I'm a Met.
Yeah. It's amazing how athletes can, I don't know if rise to the occasion is the appropriate wording. You know, when they get stuck behind the 8 ball, they kind of come through, you know. The competitive spirit that got them here.
When the going gets tough.
Well, we're getting very cliche now.
Trying to stay away from that.
We've been told by our producer every year, let's try not to be cliche.
Antonio Bastardo up in the Mets bullpen.
I guess another failed year.
We'll keep trying. 2-2 to Reynolds. Bounces that one foul. Get to Citi Field this Sunday, May 22nd. Mets square off against the Brewers at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a bat and ball set as part of Major League Baseball's Play Ball weekend. After the game, all kids 12 and under can run the bases in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, Mets.com/Family Sundays. Reynolds out to center field, and Revere steadies. 1 out. So Gio's retired 5 in a row after the Cespedes home run. Now he starts his 3rd time through the Mets batting order with Curtis Granderson coming up. You know, I was looking back to Gio Gonzalez's history, and you know, he came from Oakland in the deal for Derek Norris.
Yeah.
But before that, he started out in the White Sox organization. He was traded to the Phillies for Jim Thome. He was traded from the Phillies back to the White Sox for Freddie Garcia. He was traded from the White Sox to Oakland for Nick Swisher. All were major trades at the time, and he was a key piece being shuttled from organization to organization as a prospect before he finally settled in with Oakland.
Oh, Chen.
Anderson has to vacate. 1-1. And that time he went around.
Well, he's pitched him inside all night. He struck out in his first at bat on a check swing that was called on a fastball in.
Well, those are his overall numbers. The one caveat with Gio this season is 3rd time through the batting order, he has struggled. 3rd time through, the hitters are batting .415 against him.
Really, is there anyone in baseball that we see those numbers at that gets better as the game goes on? Very few.
Kershaw.
Yeah, of course, Kershaw.
Syndergaard.
Chris Sale.
Arrieta.
What you're saying is the better pitcher.
Yeah.
Granderson retired, 2 out. 6-3 put out. Your drive around the majors presented by Cadillac. Doubleheader in Kansas City. Jackie Bradley has hit in both games, but the Royals won game 1 of that doubleheader. Julio Teheran working on a shutout in Pittsburgh. And the Phillies, another close game victory behind Jeremy Hellickson's 6 strong innings. Phillies are now 7 games over 500. Well, those World Series towels come in handy.
I like the jacket.
Fashion with Keith.
Love that orange jacket. Is that corduroy, or is it suede?
I think it's velvet.
Oh,
that had a little bit of a Longhorn look, kind of like your tie last night. Oh, skipping in.
That might be that cheap cotton.
But he's got the orange and blue tie. I know you like that. Lagares has lined out and struck out tonight, 0 for 2.
Oh,
that
geez.
takes us to an upcoming segment that we're preparing.
Now,
Tips with Keith.
I did not have anything to do with this. All right, I'm not narcissistic. I'm not a narcissist. This was productions of the truck having a little fun.
I don't think they were accusing you of narcissism, only for a keen fashion sense.
Can you run that again? I like that sharkskin coat.
3-1 coming to Lagares. And he lines one to center. Revere will have to play it on a hop. So Lagares' second hard hit ball of the night. This one results in the Mets' second hit of the game.
Well, the Mets have been struggling offensively. They struggled on the road. Lagares right here stays back. Goes right up the middle.
And that'll bring Mike Maddox out of the Nationals dugout.
Loves to put that left hand on the pitcher's shoulder to feel tension.
It's a Rick Peterson move. Rick used to do that all the time. Now the Mets get David Wright to the plate as the tying run. David has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2.
Both outs on the breaking ball. First at bat, swinging through a curveball, and he topped one to third. His second at bat. Let's see how Gio goes after him.
Lagares at first and 2 out.
It's anything but a changeup you'd want to throw right here to David.
Threw him a fastball to start him off, and David fouled it off.
He also did a good job of throwing a couple of fastballs in on David for strikes. See if Lobaton comes in with a fastball here.
Yeah, there we go. Going in.
And now David down on the count 0-2.
Catching plenty of the plate.
He really missed his spot.
Yeah.
But got the strike.
He can go back in there and just go back a little further in.
So many things he can do.
Go back to the breaking ball.
Bounce it.
And he bounces the curveball 1-2.
I think that's one of the things in this game that I've seen from Gio that's better than we've seen in the past. The bouncing of the breaking ball when he's ahead in the count. I think he's only thrown one real hanger in the game today.
Another one.
1-2 to right. And again, it's in the dirt. 2-2. Well, this is the guy that Gio wants to get out. You got Cespedes looming on deck. Yoenis homered his last time up. David struggling, just 2 for his last 22. Traditionally has hit lefties well, but not so much this year.
.338 lifetime against lefties.
2-2 coming. And he got it on the outside corner. And Wright is caught looking on the curveball. 5 strikeouts for Gonzalez. Inning over.
Oh.
I like the pipe, Keith.
That's Hugh Hernandez.
The trivia question, we asked the only 2 players to play for the New York Giants and the New York Mets, but Willie Mays is one. So who's the other? Eddie Brasud.
Oh,
that was a tough one.
Wow.
Shortstop who spent a lot of time with the Red Sox also.
Yes.
I was thinking of, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking it was my picking Tano for a minute, but I guess Joey didn't play for the Giants. He was always a Brooklyn guy.
Roger,
Yeah.
Stardo hasn't pitched in 4 days since he threw a scoreless inning in Colorado.
He'll face the top of the batting order. Ben Revere, Jason Worth, Bryce Harper up for the Nats in the 7th. 3-1 Washington. Revere 0 for 3 tonight. Corners pinch in against him. And he tries to bunt anyway and fouls it off. Well, things have not been going well for Ben Revere, and bunting for a hit may not be a bad idea, just trying to get himself going.
Well, you know, with the left-hander, you know he's going to fall off to the third base side, so he tried to bring that bunt with him towards Campbell, but Campbell's pinched in. Always on that play, you're just trying to beat the pitcher to the bag.
Well, you have to play a little more in with the left-hand hitter, I mean the left-hand pitcher, excuse me, Ron. When falling through to the third base side. Always hated to give up that hole. Have to play in on a guy that could have the bunting potential.
Revere pops one up, headed toward the tarp and into the crowd.
You know, Revere is a guy that when they got him, it was thought they would solidify that leadoff spot since they lost Denard Span to free agency. You know, this is a guy that in the postseason had the most hits for the Toronto Blue Jays, 12. So coming off a hot postseason, but that injury really stalled him.
Got hurt his first at bat of the season, pulling an oblique muscle, missed 27 games. And has not hit a lick since coming back. He's now 5 for 50 to start the year. Just off the plate, 1-2. One thing about Bastardo, he's seen most of these Nats before, having spent plenty of time in the National League East. Revere is 2 for 2 against him. So Robles worked an inning in the 3rd. No runs, no hits, couple of strikeouts. And now Bastardo trying to hold the fort, hoping that the Mets offense can get rolling in the later innings. Nationals bullpen has been really good. Oh! And Revere is undressed.
And they're lucky didn't get him in the coconut. Oh, that was close.
It was up and it was in. It looked like he got his hand in front of it.
Shoulder. Oh, and the wrist.
Yeah.
Got the double Dutch.
He was fortunate to get his head out of the way.
Yes, that's the critical. Very good, Gary. Don't want to see that.
Least of all Bastardo.
Probably teammates at one time, right, in Philadelphia? Would they have crossed over at all? Yeah.
Revere was there for more than a year. So Revere counting himself fortunate. He's on base to lead off the inning, and now Jason Worth, who's been on base 3 straight times with 2 walks and a single. He scored 2 runs. So this inning not beginning the way Bastardo would have hoped. Bastardo had that great outing in San Diego where he came into a bases loaded jam and got 2 strikeouts and a pop up to strand all 3 runners. All his outings since then have been a little trouble in LA and in Colorado.
Well, I said last night that the Mets bullpen, for the most part, works very quickly. Well, Bastardo is just the opposite. He's a very deliberate worker. It's almost like the sun and the stars have to be in right alignment before he's going to let it go.
Especially now with a base stealer, Revere on base. You go back to that outing he threw in San Diego. He threw all fastballs that night.
Yes, he did. And everybody was swinging for the downs. It was a tremendous job he did in that game with the bases loaded.
is different for a pitcher, but he just does not look like the same guy since then.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper on deck. Revere got thrown out trying to steal last night. Has not yet stolen a base this year. 31 last year. Bastardo behind on Worth 3-0.
Give him the hit sign. Veteran hitter. He knows what to do.
It's hard to hit though after he's been all over the strike zone. I mean, 3 straight pitches, huh?
I know you got a hitter that's struggling, but you know what? It's a veteran hitter. He knows he's looking for something middle in.
Okay.
I would let him take a rip.
Worth takes a strike. There's nobody up in the Mets bullpen. This inning is on Bastardo. You got the 2 lefties, Harper and Murphy, behind Worth. And that's why he is working this 7th inning. But so far he's hit Revere with a pitch and now falling behind Worth 3-1. And Worth cracks one toward right center. Lagares won't get there, and it goes all the way to the wall. Revere streaking to third. He's going to be held up there. The ball comes into Walker. And Worth pulls in at second with a double. He's been on base 4 times in a row. And the Nats have second and third and nobody out, and Harper coming up.
Well, playing it very safe. Third base coach for the Nats here. But nobody out, 3-1 ball game. You lose the first game in the opener. I don't blame him for playing it safe here. You're set up for a big inning to blow this game open in the 7th. And it is interesting to watch the veterans, how you have a big series, come in struggling, and they're the ones that find a way. They come up for the big games. They get up for it. I mean, Revere didn't hesitate. I mean, a little bit. Wasn't sure. Not a great read, but it was tough. Could have sent them.
So now Harper bats second and third, nobody out. No thought of walking him. The infield comes in. And Harper swings through the fastball, 0-1. Harper's walked 3 straight times today and scored a run.
He's got one for his downswing there. He was going for a 3-run shot. Now it's too big a game right here. You got to go up the middle and just drive in these 2 runs.
Let's see, Bastardo's had the upper hand on Harper, 2 for 12 in his career with 7 strikeouts. And he could use a strikeout here, and he's quickly ahead on Harper 0-2. Maybe he just needed to create his own San Diego jam.
Yeah, well, he has.
Revere at third, Worth at second, nobody out. 0-2 to Harper with Murphy on deck. Two from Bastardo, and he struck him out. 3 pitches, and Bastardo takes care of Harper for the first out.
Well, there's the shoulder flying out, and there's that spot, Ronnie.
Yeah.
It's lefty, even a left-hander, up and away that he swings through. His body is not into hitting that outside pitch.
So now it's Murphy. Murphy's 1 for 3, drove in a run with a base hit in the 3rd. Was robbed of a hit his last time up by Campbell. Infield stays in with 1 out. And Murph takes up and in for ball 1.
And watch the body, the entire body. Watch it pull away, and then you're reaching with your arms. That's a hole in his swing. And there's one of your best players in the game too. It's an MVP. 40+ home runs last year.
Like Harper, Bastardo has good numbers against Murphy. 3 for 14. And he bounces one. 2-0. Revere at third, Worth at second, and 1 out. I know that it's lefty here, and you got Zimmerman on deck, but I'd be so tempted to walk Murph here at 2-0.
Well, just a veteran pitcher like Bastardo should know that he can go with a slider. Try to get Murph to try to get out of his strike zone. Hit a weak ground ball somewhere.
I just don't like Cabrera giving Murph that hole there. Murph's a smart enough hitter to go the other way. I would get Cabrera over around 5 feet, maybe even 10. Give him the middle. Take away that little hole to the opposite field.
Daniel Murphy drove in 402 runs as a Met. Got his first RBI against the Mets in the 3rd inning tonight.
Lucky called for the fastball. Bastardo shook him off to the slider.
Mm. 2-1.
2-0 count. Everybody wants to hit a home run today, don't they?
Take that back.
Changeup.
Changeup.
Yeah, that was a good pitch.
2-0
so
changeup.
I'll take back my comment on the home run. That was a heck of a pitch right there.
Logan Verrett getting ready with the right-hand hitters coming up. Zimmerman and Rendon behind Murphy. One from Bastardo. In the air to deep center field. Back goes Lagares. So way back, and Juan over the shoulder makes the catch. Oh, what a play. Revere tags and scores. But Juan Lagares showing off his Gold Glove form to save at least a run. Murphy gets a sac fly out of it to make it 4-1 Washington.
This is shades of Willie Mays right here. Beautiful play.
Well, 2 years ago, he made half a dozen catches, the equal of this one. Lagares is back in his Gold Glove form.
That is just terrific. And might I also add, Murph is one of the, I can't say handful of hitters, but minority of hitters that knows how to get a runner in from third base with less than 2 outs.
Second RBI of the night for Murphy. 4-1 Washington. Worth at second and 2 out, and now Zimmerman is 0 for 2. And Worth stealing third, and he'll go uncontested. Got a huge walking lead that time, and he steals his first base of the year.
Well, Bastardo wasn't paying any attention to him, other with the middle infielders, so they just gave him a bag.
0-1 to Zimmerman.
Which the understanding is that you hold your position. You want to be able to play defense against Zimmerman, but now this puts a little more pressure on the catcher.
And Zimmerman reaching for the fastball. It's 1-2.
Boy, Zimmerman's just in a funk. He is lost at sea. New York Times crossword puzzle, at sea.
Addled. Confused. 5 letters. 1-2. Up and away. All fastballs here from Bastardo to Zimmerman. Anthony Rendon would be next. The hit by pitch proving costly to Bastardo. Came up and then on Revere, got him on the wrist. Revere has come around to score. And now Bastardo trying to limit the damage here in the 7th, with the Mets now down by 3. We're at the 3rd and 2 out. Zimmerman stays alive on the changeup. think we'll ever see the pitch clock in the major leagues. Using it in the minor leagues.
I wonder why you would be thinking about that.
Like
he should get a commission on concessions.
I feel like Daisuke is back. Off the corner, 3-2.
I will say one thing. It's nice and quiet in the ballpark. It's kind of the Nationals have taken the fans out of the game, but they're watching intently.
Starters average 35 seconds between pitches, which could prompt a yawn. "3-2 coming, and he walked it away. So Zimmerman keeps the inning alive with a 2-out walk. And now Rendon will come up, but he'll not face Bastardo. It'll be Logan Verrett instead. So Bastardo, unable to seal the deal in the 7th, gives up a run. Will leave with 2 men aboard for Verrett. We'll be right back. Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By the Better Network, Verizon, better matters. And by Mazda, driving matters.
Oh, look at them getting along. Nice little Westie.
Logan Verrett, off a difficult start in Colorado, will come out of the bullpen.
Yeah, this is 9th relief appearance at 3 starts, and that start in Colorado touched up for 10 hits and 7 runs.
Tough outing for Antonio Bastardo. Leaves with runners at first and third and 2 out. Anthony Rendon has already driven in 2 runs. He has the big hit in this game. Snuck one through the left side of the infield with 2 out in the 5th to drive in a pair. Now he's got another 2-out RBI chance. Rendon 2 for 3 today. And he takes the slider off the plate for ball 1. Worth is at third. Zimmerman at first with 2 out. Rendon is the only Nationals hitter that Verrett has ever faced. And he jams him and he fouls it off. 1-1.
And I mentioned earlier that Rendon in the past, I've always referred to him as having a slump-proof swing. He's just, to me, he looks like a natural hitter that uses the entire field, but has gotten off to an incredibly slow start this year.
Well, a base hit like the one he had in his last at bat against Cologne could be the kind of thing that gets him going.
Well, he likes hitting here.
Nice stop by Plawecki, saving a run. 2-1.
Nice.
It's getting late in the game. It's getting a little fractious. 2-1 to Rendon. Slider off the plate for Red, who had trouble controlling that pitch in Colorado, having trouble with it again in this at bat. Danny Espinosa on deck. First and third and 2 out. 3-1 coming, and he walked him to fill the bases. So Verrett comes in and walks Rendon. That is 7 walks for Met pitchers tonight.
7 walks and 2 hit by pitch.
For a team that came into the night having given up the fewest walks of any staff in the league.
Now, this is always interesting to watch a young pitcher, young as far as his experience, take a beating like he did in Colorado. And the thing about Logan Verrett, he's always been a strike thrower, aggressive. Will he stay aggressive even after having a tough outing?
So now Espinosa with a chance to break the game open. Bases loaded, 2 out. Espinosa 0 for 3. And Verrett misses inside with the fastball. 7 walks by Met pitching matches a season high. They had 7 against the Giants in a game on April 30th. This is not the norm for this staff, especially Colon walking 5. First time in 11 years he'd done that. Espinosa looking for his first hit in the series, 0 for 6 with 5 strikeouts. And he bounces one slowly that came off his foot, a foul ball. Look at those soulful eyes.
Found a nice pillow there. Deep pull hitter. I said Espinosa is much like Lobaton. You can pitch him away. He wants to pull from the left side of the dish.
Too high, 2-1. The Red pitched Saturday in Colorado. Got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, so the rest is certainly adequate.
Oh, jeez.
Hello. Good cut by Espinosa, 2-2.
Just the fastball right there. Keith said it. It's a low ball hitter.
Yep.
Swings right under it.
That's belt high.
So a chance for Verrett to get through it. Bases loaded, 2 out, 2-2 to Espinosa. And his feet and a full count. That'll set the merry-go-round in motion. We'll say Lobaton on deck. So now Worth at third, Zimmerman at second, Rendon at first will all be running. Three and 2 to Espinosa, and he walked him to force in a run. Wow. So Logan Verrett comes in and walks back-to-back hitters. 3 straight walks issued by Met pitchers. 8 walks for the night, and it's now 5-1 Washington.
Well, this was a Met team that came in leading the National League in the least amount of walks. This is a very uncharacteristic night.
Started the night with 80 walks in 335 innings. Tonight, 8 walks in 6 2/3. Very different kind of game for this staff.
And a bullpen that's been solid.
So 2 runs home in the inning. Now Lobaton, and he fouls off the fastball. Lobaton, the 8th man up in the inning. 0 for 3 tonight. Gio Gonzalez has been in that dugout for a long time. The starter threw 24 pitches, 12 more from Verrett, and the inning's still going. Gio's working on a 2-hitter, 84 pitches under his belt through 6. And Lobaton takes a strike 0-2.
Question, Ronnie, on a hot night and you're pitching a ball game that's late like this, and you've had a tough, you worked hard. Is an inning like this good for you? Would you lose your rhythm, or was it good for you to catch your breath?
I think that in this case, it's a long inning, and you have to go out when you go to warm up. When that time comes, you've got to be really vigilant about getting your pitches over again. There wasn't a long delay.
Well, the Mets are just hoping that by the time Gio takes the mound, that this game is still within range.
Yeah.
Brett, a badly needed hitter right here. Ahead on Lobaton, 1-2. And that just missed. 2-2. This is not what we're used to seeing from Logan Brett, and you can see how much he is struggling right now. He's already walked in a run. 2-2 to Lobaton. He fouls that fastball off.
Yeah. And cheering, saying, "Come on, guys, throw strikes." Yeah, that's right. I said it.
My dogs, if you took them out in the rain, they would rebel.
Look at the old Senators.
Fixing your Washington teams. Lobaton stays alive. That's over 40 pitches in this inning going by the Mets bullpen.
How many pitches in this game? I mean, out of. Come on, Dave, let's go.
164.
There you go.
I didn't have to wait for Dave. Again, the 2-2. And he smacks one foul.
You know, just a point of note here. Speaking, our director showed us the Senators uniform in 1968. On this day, Frank Howard hit his 10th home run in a 6-game span. This Big Hondo was hot. Oh, woof.
Lobaton strikes out, and the inning finally comes to an end. The Nats had 2 runs against Bastardo and Verrett. 7th inning stretch time, 5-1 Washington. Super slow motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Fans up and stretching, and a little light rain. Mets down 5-1 after winning the opening game of the series last night 2-0. Mets will try and generate some offense in the bottom of the 7th against Gio Gonzalez, who's held them to 2 hits so far. And Yoenis Cespedes, who's responsible for the only Met run, will lead off. Cespedes hit a 2-out home run on a 3-1 pitch, driving one into the seats in left field. His home runs have not had a lot of hang time.
No, they've been real
line drive
types,
which I like those better.
You do?
Oh, I love it when a guy hits a clothesliner.
You know Keith's into the frozen ropes.
Oh, that's right.
Gary.
Forgot.
Very good, Gary. Nice term. Descriptive.
Cespedes hit the ball hard twice tonight. First time up, he lined out to Harper in right field. So Gonzalez, after what, a half hour in the dugout? The apple is up. I guess they were anticipating Cespedes' action before it happened.
Oh,
premature appleitis.
Someone's going to get in hot water on that one in the control room. Oh, I'd run for the hills if I were you.
Cespedes lines one to right field, and that's down for a base hit. So the Mets' 3rd hit of the night, and Cespedes has 2 of the 3. Let's see if that's the start of something for the Mets here in the 7th.
Ball's out of the strike zone. Oh, it's on the corner. Good pitch. Just let go with one hand. Very good balance. Very strong.
So now Neil Walker is walking flied out tonight, 0 for 1. Mets have just 4 hits in their victory last night. They now have 3 hits tonight. Nobody up in the Nats bullpen. Gonzalez only at 86 pitches for the night. And he picks off the outside corner to Walker.
He's dropped a couple of miles an hour, though, in this inning.
Well, could that be a consequence of having sat for so long?
Yeah, you get a little stiff, absolutely.
Ball bounced slowly. Espinosa gets the lead man. And that's the first out of the inning. Not even a thought of turning 2, and ball so slowly hit. Sean Kelly, first man up in the Nats bullpen. He's been serving as the setup man for Jonathan Papelbon. Two for 1. Here's those dribble Cabrera, who's grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. That's driven to center field, and Rivera will have to play it on a hop. So Cabrera with the 2nd hit of the inning for the Mets, and now 2 aboard. So some hard hit balls against Gio Gonzalez here in the 7th after his long respite.
We'll get Dusty thinking a little bit here.
Maddox is going to come out again. Oh, maybe not.
It's going to be Dusty. No,
didn't make it to the foul line.
That's Chris Spire and Davey Lopes. That's a nice coaching staff right there of ex-major leaguers.
Felipe Rivero, the left-hander, joins Sean Kelly in the bullpen.
Seems to be raining a little harder, huh?
Always looks harder on TV.
Yeah.
Around the stands, not a lot of umbrellas open. And here comes Maddox.
You know what that was? That was a whole case of get the catcher out there to talk to the pitcher, and then after he's been out there a while, then send the pitching coach out, because Rivero just started the throw. We wanted to make sure he got him loose too.
Like Maddox, who at one time pitched for the Mets, probably gets from the dugout to the mound about as fast as any pitching coach in the game.
No spry.
He's still in good shape.
When did he pitch for the Mets? Mid 90s? Yeah. Was Jim Henderson in the bullpen for the Mets?
I He's got some really good years with San Diego. It never quite translated to the same kind of success with the Mets. Well, here's Campbell with 2 men on. Eric is grounded to short and fly to right. Walker at second, Cabrera at first with 1 out. And a breaking ball in for a strike. Mike Maddox, a Met in 93 and 94. Not great years. 93 especially. Yemen gets jammed and fouls it off, and it's 0-2. That's box score presented by Chrysler. Just 4 hits tonight, 4 hits last night. Cespedes with a home run, his 13th. And that's all the Mets have managed against Gio Gonzalez, who came into the night with a lifetime Citi Field ERA of 1.54. And it's been about the same tonight. 0-2 to Campbell with Plawecki on deck. He lays off the curveball, 1-2. Gio threw 106 pitches in 5 innings in his last start against Miami. So he's been a little more efficient tonight. Didn't allow an earned run in that game. 1-2 coming. And Campbell again lays off the curveball that almost hits him in the foot. 2-2.
Well, Gio can have these innings where he blows up.
Well, yeah, he doesn't seem as on point as he was in the first 6 innings. It might be from that, as Gary asked, long time on that bench, little rain.
Dusty's getting a little antsy there. This is Gio's last hitter. If he doesn't get him out.
Yeah, they got Kelly ready for Plawecki on deck. 2-2 to Campbell, and he hits it hard, a base hit. Walker to third. He'll be held up there, and the Mets have the bases loaded, and the tying run coming to the plate. So 3 hits in the inning against Gonzalez. Campbell, after falling behind in the count 0-2, smacks a base hit to load him up. And what's a manager to do?
It looks like Dusty went back to his scorecard.
Well, again, the third base coach, safety first here. You're down. Third base coach, tough. And is he going to leave him in?
Here's that he might.
He went back to his scorecard. Now he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, he just.
Michael Conforto has a helmet on, ready to pinch hit if they bring the right-hander in the game. Dusty's going to come out and make a double switch. Pitcher spot is due to lead off for the Nats in the 8th inning. So he's going to take his catcher out. Wilson Ramos will come in along with, it looks like they're bringing in Rivera, the left-hander, to keep Conforto on the bench.
Darn right.
Smart play.
Smart play.
So the double switch for the Nats. Mets have the bases loaded in the 7th. Don't go away. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Trade night. Wilson Ramos will catch. He'll bat ninth. The pitcher hits eighth.
Well, it's a very rare thing you see when a manager comes out and his gut tells him to pitch the left-hander against a right-handed hitter to keep Conforto on the bench. Only 5 walks for Rivero this year.
Oh, I want no part of Conforto on the bench.
Although Conforto is out on deck because the only right-hand bat the Mets have left is the backup catcher.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Rivero misses badly to Plawecki with his first pitch. Rivero coming in with the bases loaded. He's walked 5 batters in 18 2/3 this year. So Conforto is the choice on deck, even against the lefty. Walker at third, Cabrera at second, Campbell at first, Plawecki the tying run at the plate. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1.
That's some gas.
Yeah, that was a good fastball there.
Jeez. He has been more effective, Rivero, against right-hand hitters, only hitting 150 off him, but he's given up 2 big bombs against the right-handers.
Plawecki 1 for 5 in this series. He's been swinging a hot bat the last 2 weeks. And he takes that one down. Change up from Rivero. 2-1. Gio Gonzalez out after 6 1/3. 1 run so far, but is responsible for 3 on base. 5 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. 2-1 to Plawecki. And he takes a fastball strike, 2-2.
You're going to get cheese. I don't know what you're looking for. It's a fastball thrower. He's a fastball pitcher.
Two-two. Little comebacker. Rivero flips home. They get the force, and that's all. So Walker's out at the plate on the 1-2 force play.
Well, it's the right play by Rivero, you know, because he's got to make sure he gets the out. So he kind of walked it in and underhanded it to Ramos. By that time now, no play for the double play for Ramos.
So now Terry Collins with a bench that's a little compromised tonight. He already used Reynolds as a pinch hitter against Gio Gonzalez in the 6th. That left Rene Rivera, his backup catcher, as the only other right-handed bat. So Conforto, who's been sitting for the most part against lefties, called upon as a pinch hitter against a lefty here, with the bases loaded and 2 out. All Gio can do is pace.
Just keep the line running here. Don't try to hit the granny.
That gets away, but it comes right back. And Cabrera alertly goes back to third.
That a cross? Got to be a cross that, Ronnie.
Yes, it was.
Oh, my word.
Looking for the changeup, got the express.
And missed everybody. And Cabrera makes the right move here. The ball comes right back to the catcher. Very fortunate.
That's knowing your home ballpark.
Yes.
That's something that happens often here at Citi Field.
Oh my gosh, that did not hit anybody. Just kind of tipped the catcher.
Lucky he didn't get hurt. Cabrera at third, Campbell at second, Plawecki at first, and 2 out. And Conforto takes a knee-high strike. 1-1. Conforto hitting just 154 against lefties. And fastball inside, 2-1.
Good eye.
4 hits and 26 at bats against left-handers.
Boy, that 1-1 pitch is just so important, like you always talk about, Keith. Just inside off the plate. Marvin Hudson's had a good game behind the plate.
I just think the outfield is a little shallow, center and right field. Don't want to give up in a double here.
And Conforto rolls over one down to first. Zimmerman with the flip to Rivero.
Nice
and the
job.
Nats get out of it in the 7th. So Dusty Baker goes to the lefty. It proves to be the right move. 5-1 Nats after 7. scoreless innings for Brian Snitker's first win as Braves manager. Coming up tonight after the post game, Geico Sports Night, Doug Williams in the chair. Knicks look like they have a skipper, and we'll have all the reaction to that on Geico Sports Night. Jerry Blevins will pitch the 8th inning for New York.
Got a couple of outs 3 days ago in Colorado, one by a strikeout.
Wilson Ramos first man up against him. Ramos came on the double switch in the last half inning, so he's hitting 9th in the order. Ramos, Revere, and Worth. It's been a very strange night for the Mets pitching staff. 8 walks through the first 7 innings. To make it even stranger, the first 5 issued by Bartolo Colon. Ramos 0 for 3 last night in the series opener, and he takes a strike from Blevins.
Well, it could have been a sticky situation because that pass ball, Ramos tried to catch that, and it almost hit his open bare hand after you've replaced your catcher, you know?
Would have had to ask who the emergency guy is for the Nationals. In that last inning, Bastardo and Verrett combined to walk 3 batters. It's the first time this season the Mets have walked 3 batters in an inning. Give you an idea how offbeat this effort has been tonight.
Watch that pitch I was talking about, cross up. Watch the right hand of Ramos. He tries to do anything to catch the ball, including his bare hand.
A little late.
I mean, that could have hit him right on the end of the fingers.
Yes.
Very fortunate.
I mean, it's not his fault. There's nothing he could do. He just went in emergency mode.
Ramos drives one to right center, but Lagares playing over that way and gets there for the first out. Good positioning there. Ramos hit that ball hard. Not as much effort required on that catch by Lagares, who's already had his highlight play of the night.
The say hey play.
Yeah. He can make your eyes pop at times with his outfield play. What made it so stunning when he dropped that fly ball on the road trip? Is that in LA?
LA. He was coming in. It was kind of a simple play for him.
Right off the end of his glove on the ball he appeared to have a beat on. First fly ball he's ever dropped in his major league career. Revere is 0 for 3, but was hit by a pitch to open up the 7th inning when the Nats added 2 runs to make it 5-1. Blevins falls behind him 2-0. Colon went the first 4 2/3, allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 walks. Most he's walked in 11 years. Ponce Robles was good for an inning and a third, but Bastardo and Verrett combined to give up 2 runs in the 7th. Blevins falls behind on Revere 3-0. Nobody up in the Mets bullpen, so it looks like Blevins is getting the entire 8th inning, which means he'll face the right-hand batter Jason Worth, who's on deck. And he got the 2 lefties, Harper and Murphy, behind him. Here's a strike. And now 3-2. Matt Harvey tomorrow night hooks up against Steven Strasburg. Walker gives some ground and throws out Revere 2 away. Well, this is going to be it's going to be a big test for Matt Harvey tomorrow night. The returns have not been encouraging. And that most recent start in Colorado was downright distressing.
Yeah, he should. I mean, Colorado, there's Strasburg on your left. if you can. Those starts in Colorado are always kind of iffy, aren't they? But the start before in San Diego, it really looked like he had made his move. 10 strikeouts in that game.
What was particularly hard to watch was the body language.
Yes.
When he came out of the game in Colorado. And, you know, even his words after the game. He is in a place that clearly he's never been before.
It was almost like he was offering a mea culpa for his pitching line, but
it's like the old adage: when you hit rock bottom, you can't get it. He's thinking all you can do is go up, and you got to hope that that was the outing. You can only go up from there.
Worth's been on base 4 times tonight. It's a strike, 2-1.
I think when you've spent your whole life being able to dominate hitters and throw the ball hard, and anytime you reach back for it, you get that 95 plus, and it's not happening, it shakes you. You don't know what to do.
Well, that's when you find out about your players.
There you go.
How they deal with adversity. Everybody can be smiles and patting everybody on the back when things are going your way. It's when you find out about your players, when they how they get through their struggles.
3-1 to Worth, and he's on base for the 5th time in a row. That is 9 walks by Met pitchers.
Wow.
So Worth has been on 5 times in front of Harper. 5 times.
3 times via the wall.
I know.
It's crazy.
What's the last player you heard in Flushing get booed like Harper's getting booed the last 2 nights? It's been a long time, right?
Chipper Jones.
Yeah, I don't feel like people boo players as much as they used to.
It all depends. There's circumstances, you know.
Yeah.
And,
like Utley might get booed when he comes to the Dodgers.
He got booed in October, rather fiercely. Harper's walked 3 times and struck out 0 for 1, and he takes a fastball strike from Blevins. So Harper looking for his first hit in this series. He's gone 0 for 5 with the 3 walks. Knocked down by Plawecki. Over the last 20 games now, including tonight, Bryce Harper has walked 31 times in 20 games. But he's hitting 167 over that.
Right.
Just 9 for 54. So it's a really interesting formulation right now. A young superstar having to adjust to the league treating him differently. And how do you handle that? Maybe seeing 1 or 2 pitches a night to hit.
You know, I'd never put it past him because he does unorthodox things. It's almost like, to me, that Joe Madden decided to play with his head. Said, we're not going to pitch to you this entire series. And Cubs, I think, swept that series, didn't they?
4 games.
Yeah.
And he has not been able to get it back since.
Well, let me tell you, the kid that is coming on with more experience now that I love is Rizzo at the first baseman. My gosh, that left-hand hitter on top of the dish. I tell you, I love him.
He had an MVP type season last year.
Yes, he did. Well, Blevins behind Harper, 3-1. And there's a strike. Harper thought it was ball 4. He's ready to take off his shin guard. Not yet, Bryce.
He thought it was up.
It's a strike, and it's a good pitch to hit, too. Still a little jumpy at the plate. That shoulder, front shoulder.
Now Worth will be running with 3-2 and 2 out. And ball 4 to Harper. That's 10 walks issued by Met pitching, and Worth and Harper in the 2 and 3 spots in the batting order have gotten on base 9 times out of 10. The 4th walk to Harper tonight. Daniel Murphy coming up. We check in with Steve.
Clearly Daniel Murphy's taking it to a new level this year, hitting .397 right now. Dusty Baker yesterday said it's not a stretch to think that last October has a big deal to do with it. Said that type of confidence, when you have an October like that, it carries over big time. His confidence is sky high. Dusty's also been very impressed with his approach at the plates this year. Says not enough hitters do it like Murphy does in terms of going up there each and every at bat with a specific plan.
Murph takes a strike. He's driven in 2 runs tonight with an infield single and a sacrifice fly. Those were his numbers last year in the first 2 rounds of the postseason. Homering in 6 straight games. Never happened before.
Yep.
One thing about Murphy's start to the season, and he's obviously had a tremendous start. One of the peripheral stats on him is his batting average on ground balls, which was .203 last year and is over .540 this year. And so he's either hitting the ball a lot harder or just finding the right spots.
I always felt that Murph, he could counter a shift. He has such good bat control. If they're going to play a shift on him, he can hit the ball to left field.
Levin's ahead of him 0-2. And the curveball strikes him out. Plawecki will have to make the toss to first, and that retires the side. So Levin's worked around a couple of walks in the top of the 8th. 5-1 Washington. God. With the bases loaded, and he'll stay on to face Curtis Granderson leading off in the 8th, and then we'll probably see Sean Kelly, the right-hander, with Lagares and Wright behind Granderson.
Well, Rivero has a little bit of a 3/4 arm action, but he keeps the ball down, or did in that last inning when he came in.
Plawecki and Conforto on ground balls. Granderson 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out and grounded out twice against Gio Gonzalez. Gio went 6 in the 3rd, allowed a run on 5 hits. There's Kelly ready to come in behind Rivero.
Kelly has yet to give up a run this year. I think in 13 and a 1/3, if I'm correct. I would be correct. 19 Ks over 13 and a 1/3, 17 appearances.
Well, you see what the Mets have done in this series. Very little hitting, and all their runs scoring on solo home runs, which has been something of a pattern. One-two to Granderson, and it almost hit him in the coconut. Sorry, I stole that from you.
Let's not be overuse any words here. It's a good term, though.
Just a breaking ball that didn't break.
It sure didn't. Kid's got a good arm.
97 from Rivera. Juan Lagares on deck, then David Wright. If anybody gets on here in the 8th, you're going to assess, but this will get another turn at bat. Met pitchers have walked 10 tonight. Nationals pitchers have walked only 1. And Granderson goes down on the fastball. Impressive by Rivera for the first out. And that's going to be the end of his tenure.
Got on top of that one a little more, put a little extra mustard on it, right by Curtis.
No, yeah, he's tardy.
So Rivera retires all 3 of his hitters. Dusty Baker will bring in the right-hander Sean Kelly to face the right-hand hitters. 5-1 Washington in the 8th. We'll be right back. Series. Matt Harvey against Steven Strasburg. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow right here on SNY. Sean Kelly, who's been brilliant so far for the Nats.
He has. Keith was mentioning 19 strikeouts and 13 1/3 innings pitch. Great slider. That's his signature pitch.
And he throws a fastball to start off Lagares, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Single to center his last time up. Lagares and Wright. Coming up against Kelly. Jim Henderson getting ready in the Mets bullpen. And the slider misses high. Ball and a strike. This place was electric last night.
It sure was.
It's more like candle power tonight.
Well, 10 walks will do it.
That, a little rain. And no Syndergaard.
Yeah. No lightning bolts.
Bounce to the right side. Zimmerman ranging wide. And Kelly covers. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on in the home 8th. Oh. The horses are on the track.
I do have to say, this game has been so bad that even that didn't rouse us today.
They tried.
They tried.
The Preakness has to be coming up soon.
Right. Yes, that's right.
David Wright 0 for 3 tonight with a couple of strikeouts. And the slider from Kelly misses high. Sean Kelly now 32 years old. Mariners, Yankees, Padres last year. And signed a 3-year deal with the Nats. And so far that's paying off handsomely. 1-1.
You just don't see relievers. He parlayed one really good year in San Diego into a 3-year contract. You don't see relievers get that kind of deal. Good for him.
Especially non-closers, but it seems to be happening more and more. As those 8th inning guys seem to rise in value.
I feel like he signed his contract right after Darren O'Day signed a 4-year deal with the Orioles.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, right.
One-two from Kelly to Wright. It's too high. Yoenis Cespedes hoping for a turn on deck. Its only run came on a Cespedes home run in the 4th inning and tied up the game, but the Nats immediately regained the lead after more control issues by Colon, and it's all fallen down from there. Full count to Wright. They had their chance in the 7th when they loaded the bases, but Rivera came out of the bullpen, got Plawecki on a grounder for a force at the plate, and then retired Conforto on a ground ball as well. And that took a whole bunch of air out of the balloon. Wright goes down swinging. 3rd time he struck out tonight, and Kelly comes in and gets his 2-man in the 8th. On to the 9th we go. Henderson coming in. 5-1 Nats. Comes on to pitch for New York.
Well, Henderson coming off that outing in Colorado. Remember, he gave up that big home run to Ryan Rayburn. That really hurt the Mets. Trying to rebound here.
The last time the Mets walked 10 batters in a game was in 2014 against the Yankees, and they won. It was a 12-7 slugfest or walk-fest. Ryan Zimmerman has walked and been hit by a pitch, otherwise 0 for 2. So 10 walks and 2 hit batsmen. The Nats have only had 6 hits.
They're lucky
Called
that
3 passes.
it's lucky there's only 5 runs on the board.
Zimmerman, Rendon, and Espinosa against Henderson in the ninth. And that's hit toward the middle, a base hit. Lagares streaking over to cut it off. And Zimmerman will stop at first with a well-struck single. So Zimmerman on base for the 3rd time tonight. His 7th Washington hit.
Well, straight up the middle, and just who's going to catch this one? That ball was a rope. Good job on Lagares getting there, holding him to a single.
Now Anthony Rendon, who's 2 for 3, had the big hit in this game. It was 1-1 in the 5th. Colon had the first 2 men on against him. Got a great play by Campbell to retire Murphy. Struck out Zimmerman with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Got a hit on Rendon 1 and 2. And then Rendon squeezed one through the left side of the infield to drive in 2 runs and gave the Nats a 3-1 lead, and they haven't looked back. And Henderson misses up and in, 2-0. He went around. Check it. 1-1. So the Nats have a 4-run lead. They had a day off Monday. Papelbon didn't pitch yesterday, but rather than bringing his closer with a 4-run lead, it looks like Dusty Baker's got Sammy Solis up in the bullpen instead. And there he is.
Well, it's a little different with an older closer, though, right? And, you know, Familia's a guy that you want to get enough work to stay sharp. Papelbon, you have to worry about when you get into a winning streak. He's going to pitch a lot. How many days can he pitch in a row at this point in his career?
Two and 2 to Rendon.
Well, the diehards are here.
The most important thing, Keith, is you're still here.
Of course.
Don has to spin out of the way. 3 and 2.
Not like our executive director in spring training, who always kind of bails out. You know, we've blown 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th.
Really?
Oh, yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I know it. Doesn't fool me.
And Rendon is on with the 11th walk that Met pitchers have issued tonight. So Rendon on base for the 4th time, and this is one that Terry Collins is going to want to flush when this is over.
I think the man on the left right there, and Dan Warthen, is the one that's going to want to flush this one right down the toilet.
Well, we talked about it earlier. The Mets pitching staff entered the night having issued the fewest walks of any staff in the National League. But 11 walks in 8 innings plus tonight puts that's a big crimp in that. Here's Espinosa, who walked to force in a run his last time up, otherwise 0 for 3. And he socks one into right field, and Granderson is there. That's the first out of the inning. Tagging is Zimmerman. He'll go over to 3rd. So 1 away, runners at the corners, and now the pitcher's spot is due up, and Clint Robinson will come up to pinch hit. And Sammy Solis getting ready to pitch the 9th. Robinson just 6 for 34 to start the season, but he already has a pinch hit home run this year. One of the 2 home runs he's hit. Robinson emerged last year as an important bench player for the Nats.
Well, Clint Robinson had a great spring training 2 spring trainings ago, made the ball club. Did a great job for them last year.
And got to play a lot because Zimmerman was hurt, so got over 300 at bats at 272 with 10 home runs. Not getting nearly as much playing time early this season. And Henderson gets ahead of him 0-2. Robinson last year was a 30-year-old rookie with the Nationals.
I liked his line last year when he said that when they asked him, did he ever break camp with a team? Break camp? Because I never made the first cut.
He had a sprinkling of at-bats with the Royals and the Dodgers, but it never stuck for more than a few days at a time. Runner goes, and Robinson fouls it away. So Rendon was on the move, but he'll come on back. So let's see. Last time Mets walked 11 in a game was May of 2014. A 3-2 11-inning loss to the Phillies. Last time in a 9-inning game they walked 11 was 2012. A 7-5 loss to the Braves. This is all that history that you just don't want to hear. Milwaukee calling for the high one, and it's high and away, 1-2. Wilson Ramos sitting ninth in the order is on deck. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, the Mets will have Cespedes, Walker, and Cabrera coming up. Again, Rendon runs. Robinson strikes out as Rendon steals second. That's the second out. Rendon, who got caught stealing earlier in the game, picks up his 5th of the year. So 2 in scoring position with 2 out, and Wilson Ramos, who came in on a double switch, batted in the 8th inning and flied out to center. The Nats 5 runs, 7 hits. The Mets 1 run, 5 hits. It has been a 3.5-hour slog.
Oh boy, it has been a slog.
And loses his bat. Which unfortunately hit an empty seat.
Wow.
That thing went flying into the stands. I mean, it wasn't even the usual helicopter you see. It got there in a hurry. And a guy in an Expos cap tried to catch it on the bounce. The security guard takes the bat, and they'll scream for another one.
Everybody's screaming. Why do you want to get all upset? Come on. Be happy. No worries.
0-1 to Ramos. New bat in hand. And he takes up and in. A ball and a strike. Keith, I think you should go down to the stands and say hello to everybody.
He'll be in the stands tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. You guys having a catch tomorrow?
Oh. Gary. Looking forward to it.
Zimmerman at third, Rendon at second with 2 out. Well, we talked about it earlier. There's going to be a lot on Matt Harvey's shoulders tomorrow. Not only for his own well-being, but for his teams as well. He's looking at the potential of a rubber game tomorrow night. Anderson pops one inside at 96.
I've seen a couple of games that Strasburg has pitched in the beginning of this year, and he is on time right now. There we go.
There you go. So see,
in exchange.
See what I said? No worries.
That's their sideline reporter.
Be happy.
Doing it all.
Well done. Check swing tapper. Foul. That was the 210th pitch thrown by a Met pitcher tonight.
Kid's got to be happy, huh? Get a nice baseball bat.
Put some pine
tar
on it.
on it.
Going to have that all over his finger.
I used to love the smell of pine tar. Put you to sleep. It makes you relaxed.
Reminds me of a line from Apocalypse Now.
That's right. Something with napalm.
Yes.
Cold foul.
Because I used to.
What was the line? I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
That was Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
You can, you have to wipe your hands with the pine tar after the game, rubbing alcohol on a towel, but you'd never really get rid of that smell. I know it might be too much information when you go to bed, and I would love to smell the pine tar.
Poke to the right side, and that goes through for a base hit. Zimmerman is in. Rendon right behind him. 2-strike hitting by Ramos. He drives in a pair of runs, and it's now 7-1 Washington. And that'll put a capper on this one.
That is the 2-out RBI. You have 2 of them today with 2 ribeye steaks on it. Rendon back in the 5th, and now here to ice.
So the Mets bullpen that had been going so strong. 4 runs against that bullpen tonight. And now Ben Revere will get a 6th plate appearance. It's when you know you're having a rough night. When the other team's leadoff hitter's up for the 6th time in the 9th inning. 0 for 4 and a hit by pitch tonight for Revere. And he takes a slider down, a ball and a strike.
You saw the numbers that Revere had coming into this game tonight. The leadoff position for the Nationals was sitting 172 on base, 219. And Michael Taylor looks like he might be getting a helmet. Played a big part in that.
Yeah, he was doing most of the leadoff hitting when Revere was out of the lineup.
Taylor might hit what for Worth? Take his position in the outfield. No one on the on-deck circle. Here he comes.
It's not going to get there.
By the way, those 2 RBIs for Ramos give him 44 for his career against the Mets, by far his most against any opponent. But you probably knew that. He's been killing the Mets since the day he came over in that trade from Minnesota. There's Michael Taylor on deck. That turned out to be a great trade for the Nats. They traded Matt Capps, a reliever, to the Twins, and got their long-term catcher.
Well, I remember when they made that trade, Ramos had come up from Minnesota and had a 4-for-4 day and was traded soon after that. And the reason he was traded? Well, why would you need a catcher? Joe Mauer was their everyday catcher.
You mean the first baseman, Joe Mauer?
Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah.
Dave, are we up to 300 pitches yet? Or does it just seem that way? And Revere strikes out, and the inning comes to an end. Nats add 2. Mets down 7-1 in the 9th. Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Changes for the Nats. Ben Revere moves from center field to left field. Michael Taylor comes into play center. And Sammy Solis will try and get the final 3 outs.
Well, another young left-hander with a good arm. His last outing was 4 days ago against Miami when he went 3 innings in relief.
Second round pick by the Nats out of the University of San Diego. Cespedes has had the best at bats of any Met by far. He's hit the ball hard 3 times. A line drive out, a home run, and a single. 2 for 3. Solis gets a generous strike, 1-1. Solis made his big league debut last year with the Nats, was in 18 games. This is his 8th game this season. And he gets ahead on Cespedes, 1-2. Neil Walker on deck, and then Asdrubal Cabrera for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th. Solis, one of 3 lefties in that Washington pen. Saw Oliver Perez last night, Felipe Rivero, and Solis tonight. Jonathan Papelbon staying loose just in case. And Cespedes chases one for strike 3. That's 8 strikeouts for Nats pitchers tonight.
Breaking ball that just in the dirt. One of those 7-1 at bats, right?
Yeah, you want to stay away from them, but you can kind of understand when you got 11 walks and you're out there an everyday player and 2 hit batsmen, that'll get you a little bit sore and tired.
Here's Walker, is 0 for 2 in a walk tonight. All of his at bats have been from the right side tonight. Flies that one to shallow right, and over comes Murph to get it. 2 out. So the Mets are down to their final line of the night. Asdrubal Cabrera coming up. Tomorrow night, Mets and Nats, final game of the series. Rubber match will pit Matt Harvey against Steven Strasburg.
Ronnie, as a pitcher, and you're in between starts. It's a little tough to watch.
You want to be honest? This is one of those games when your teammates are having a difficult time pitching against the team that you're going to pitch against tomorrow. Don't even really want to watch it too closely.
Well, you know what? As an everyday player, and it's this kind of game, and you go back into the clubhouse, and a couple pitchers are up there having a cup of coffee. You don't get mad at them. You understand? I don't blame you.
Cabrera 1 for 3 tonight at a base at his last time up. Off the right side, that'll go out of play. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. Souvenirs for everybody.
Right. It's amazing how the game can change from one day to another, huh?
That's hit down the line, and Cabrera's got his second hit of the night. And Asdrubal pulls into second base with a 2-out double.
Nice hitting right there, turning on that fastball upstairs. Right down the pipe. Don't give away at bats. Very nice.
Well, Papelbon still not throwing. Take another couple of base runners to get him in motion. Here's Campbell, who had a base hit his last time up. That's loaded the bases in the 7th. That was their best hope of coming back. They were down 5-1, got the tying run to the plate, but nothing further. That's rocketed to left. Back goes Revere, and he makes the catch, and the ball game is over. So on a night when Met pitchers walked 11, Bartolo Colon, on a day that began with tabloid headlines, ended with a loss as the Nats even up the series at a game apiece with a 7-1 win.
Well, watching Bartolo tonight, didn't have anything. 5 walks, first time he's done that in 11 years. And the Mets pitchers walked 11, hit 2 batters in a long, bad game.
Mets out hit 8-6, and the only bright star on the Mets side is Cespedes hit his 13th home run. That tied the game back in the 4th, but it was all Nationals after that.
Here's your game summary. Jason Worth was on base 5 times tonight. Gio Gonzalez gave up a run over 6 1/3 to get his 3rd win as the Nationals win it easily 7-1, setting up the rubber game of the series tomorrow night. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi Preferred Card of the New York Mets. Bob Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. By the NYU SPS Masters in Sports Business. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Heineken, open your world. Final score tonight, the Nationals 7 and the Mets 1. Tomorrow night, final game of the series, Matt Harvey against Steven Strasburg. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason postgame live. Let's join Gary Apple and the birthday boy, Nelson Figueroa.